And so we'll start with work session, and so I'm gonna turn it over to Nathan.
So you guys have got a brand new copy of the FY '27 proposed budget in front of you. There are currently a $1.6 million surplus in the general fund. We managed to shave out and cut a couple of other things and came up with another $150K, which was good. There still needs to be about $925,000 in the capital fund to fund the unfunded capital projects that are not bond funded, grant funded, or insurance recoverables.
So, last time we met was 2.2 million
Last week we did.
surplus.
No, it was about 1.45 is where it was.
I think he's talking about the current fiscal year as well.
Oh, the current
Yeah,
fiscal year.
We're gonna end with 2.4.
Current fiscal year is 2.2, 2.4 right in there.
Surplus.
Yes, sir.
The 1.6 million you mentioned a minute ago, what you said that is?
That is the current general fund surplus in next year's budget. And that leaves, after you move over 925,000 for the capital fund, that leaves about $675,000 in the general fund. Now, since last week,
New money.
that's surplus, 675,000. Councilman Stovall asked me for number runs for city stickers. You can take that and pass that around. And also property tax. And the operative number for the property tax is on the right-hand side of this page. Did you get one of those, or he just? Now, you also asked me for hotel motel tax. Hotel motel tax would require action of the General Assembly. We're not really sure what that would actually be.
We're working on that, because right now, we talked about, we don't know, and the Department of Revenue for the state doesn't know who owns the 5%. And so we're working on getting that worked out with the state.
But if we were to do that, and I assume July 26th, these are what those numbers would look like for a 1% and a 2% increase if we kept the current split.
Okay.
So right now, hotel motel is split 40% to the city, 40% to the county, and 20% to Visit Jackson. And so this represents a 1% increase with our 40% split, or a 2% increase with our 40% split.
Wait, we're looking at this one?
Yes, sir. That's the most complicated of them, because it's a.
That would be the hotel motel.
Any of that will require
State.
Yeah.
You got another copy of this from Larry?
I think it was going
It's
around.
coming around.
Would that be something that we would suggest, or
We
we
can
would
suggest,
ask?
we have to request from the state to approve it, but right now, above the 5%, which we're grandfathered in, we can only go up in increments of 1%. The problem we have now is, Visit Jackson is trying to work with and figure out the ownership of the 5%, because we have it through an interlocal agreement with the county of the 40-40-20. But the Department of Revenue has both of us owning the 5%, which would mean 10% locally, which we don't have, and so they're working on that right now.
Just so we get the starting point, what is the general fund budget projected to be at the end of this year?
If you look on page, it's packet page. It's the big bold numbers in the bottom. If you look at packet page 49, the 2026 revised budget is the number that you're looking at, and that's the column in the middle, and it shows $104,050,152.
Right. Now, my question is, where did this 4.6 million go? The budget was 99 million. So where did the extra 4 million
I
come
mean, we
from?
collected about $2 million in fast track grants that were added to the budget. If you remember those are just pass-throughs, but we have to budget those. We've gotten part of a VCIF grant from the police department. That was quite a bit of money. There's several things that have come in this year.
Okay, that's, so what do you got? How much you just tell me?
I mean, every time you see an increase in revenue on a budget amendment, that's why the number went up.
Is any of this come from the bond issue?
No, sir.
So
No,
we're,
that's all-
we're basically $4.5 million over budget. I mean, over
Yeah,
budget.
but I mean, for almost all of those revenues, we also had an assigned expense to go with it. So,
Well, based on the math, what you said, we have approximately $3.5 million from grants that we've received.
quite a bit, yeah.
So there's a $1 million difference. Do we know what to attribute that to?
Well, I mean, you had $25,000 grant to the NED from Tennessee Arts Commission. You had, I mean, there's, every insurance recovery that we show revenue, every one of those police cars increases that revenue number. Or fire trucks or whatever it is that we had. I mean, we could get you a list of revenue amendments, but I mean, they're the ones that you have approved as they've gone through council.
So our actual today is about 90 million. So we're gonna spend 14 million.
We're not.
How much of that will we have to fall through?
Some of that is gonna follow through to next year. For example, they can't spend all of that BCIF money. All the fast track stuff went through. Overall, revenues, we expect revenues to exceed expenses by about $2.2 to $2.4 million right now.
So this year ending, what do you expect? You expect 104?
No,
You expect what?
so, I mean, if you look, there is on page, on that same page, was it 39?
49.
Sorry.
Good job.
If you look on page 49, on 2026 projection, we're looking at about $100,780,000.
So we're gonna project spending about $1 million over budget, and we've got about 2.5 to 3 million grants that's coming in adding to the revenue.
Well, and we're underspending several things as well, which is why we're gonna have a surplus.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you hand this to-
Let's not talk to everybody.
There's one of these floating around somewhere, because I printed 11. Okay. Okay?
What was the total revenue number? I'm trying to look at it on page 7, I guess. So is the total revenue projecting 103, is it on page?
That's what we anticipate, yes, sir, $103,228,000.
And so next year we're budgeting 101 million. If I wanted to carry that back to compare it to what we budgeted last year, it would be 99 million.
Yes, sir, well, the revised budget's 102 million, the original budget was 96. The
So
revenue
it's a
budget.
$5 million, $5 million.
Some expenses now.
No, he's on page 7, aren't you?
9.
9, sorry, he's talking revenue, yeah.
Well, yeah. It's 9.
So there's a column for original budget and a column for revised budget there.
I'm just trying to get a perspective on exactly what we changed in general fund over last year.
I mean, we're looking at a revenue increase of $6 million,
Yeah.
so.
That's kind of what I'm saying, we're looking at a revenue increase of $6 million, why are we talking about raising taxes?
Because of that $6 million, 103 of it are we're gonna spend it.
Well, I mean, I bet we'd spend another million if we wanted to.
Well, you can, but, so most of that revenue that you received was allocated to this purpose before we received it.
Okay, I'm
So,
not.
so of the $2.5 million in fast track grants, $2.5 million came in and $2.5 million went out. The VCIF money is great, there are some things we can spend it on and some things we can't.
I'm not, I agree with you, 100%. My only point is, we got $6 million more this year than we had last year, and we're talking about a tax increase. I don't know whether that $6 million all came from grants or whatever, it's still real money. Yes.
Well, if I give you $100 to give to Councilwoman Wallace, you don't have $100. That's not your 100. That's her 100. So if somebody gives us $1.5 million to give to an industry, it's not our $1.5 million.
While it is income,
It's still money that was spent for the good of Jackson. So
Yes,
if
sir.
we're spending $6 million, forget where it comes from, for the good of Jackson, and still talking about increasing taxes, I just don't see it.
But his point is, it comes in with restrictions, the restrictions stay in place, so it comes in, it goes out.
So you're saying those things are not worthwhile doing?
But I'm saying it's not something,
I understand.
I'm saying they're very worthwhile. doing.
I understand exactly where you're coming
But it's
from.
not free money.
It's not general fund free money, I agree with that, but it's still $6 million.
Would it be helpful if he understood?
That'd be helpful, but what we're talking about is, Larry, and of course, what you just read to us there when we opened, did that include the step raises?
No, sir, it does not yet.
So then we're back,
That's right.
correct,
And
so
so,
that's what we're talking about.
So we landed on last time, utilizing 1.47 out of 2.44 of the year end for this current year of surplus to apply for the step raises.
Well, with all due respect, if we have a surplus, I would love for that to go back to our general fund and stay there.
Yeah.
Because we have torn that thing apart the past 2 years to cover the expenses. So, you know, somebody else on the email, I intend to preserve the step raises. I don't know why we made the announcement that we were cutting them. I don't know why council was bypassed for that. However, where we are today, this is our budget, and I want to challenge council to find where we can get that money from other places. Because otherwise, we're liars. We're saying, you know, we promised these step raises, and then we're just gonna take them away.
No.
Yeah, we decided that, well, or I say we decided, obviously we didn't vote, but I mean, the consensus in the last
Yes,
meeting was,
100%.
yes, we're going to.
Well, I appreciate that.
1,000%, we were already.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of surplus, you know, skim off of it. Any surplus needs to go to the general fund based on how we've hit for the last 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be in agreement to that. And I think it needs to be vocalized that it's all employees. 752.
Well, I mean, the largest department is obviously, yeah, those are the biggest numbers, and that's gonna draw your eyes. However, you know, everybody who works here is important, you know?
Absolutely.
Uh,
700.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the things, though, we do have to take into consideration as we look at that, and we all, in the last meeting, we're in agreement on the step raises of what we want to do with that, but to be forward thinking, we have to understand that while we needed, 1.4 million this year, by 2030, that goes to about 20 million.
could be, yeah.
So we have to be forward thinking today about where that's why, we're talking about the potential, or why I asked him to get the numbers on what an increase would be.
So for reference, if you choose not to use your prior year funds, the surplus this year, you need about $750,000 in next year's budget to get you to zero if you do the step raise.
Yeah, we can do that.
So,
And something else, you know, that I heard mention of a salary study. I don't know why we need to study salaries that we already are struggling to afford. I think, well, if we're gonna do a study, I would love for us to do a staffing study. One of the things I mentioned was getting leaner. I would love for us to know, where are we adequately staffed, where are we understaffed, where are we overstaffed, like,
In all departments.
yeah, in all departments, head to toe.
I agree too. I would just like for us not to spend more money when we already did one, and let's understand that one and look at where we need to be.
Yeah, I think that effort would be way better in
Does
lean
everyone have a
efficiency.
copy of that study?
We can find it.
I've got it in my files at home, my files on my side.
Changes, the likelihood of this changing is good. Hotel,
We
motel.
don't know yet, we gotta figure out who owns, the state owns, because you can guess, Department of Revenue, they don't know who owns the 5. And so, if one entity owns the 5, then we can go at 4. But we have to determine who owns the 5 and who we have to go before, and then our interlocal agreement has to change. Because we have a unique interlocal agreement, and they both passed it. The city and the county at the time both passed an interlocal agreement for the 5%, so yeah, I think it got booked as both of them, but we only received 5.
it'd be after next year's general assembly before you could even possibly consider changing.
Nathan, something, while we're on revenues, I noticed, and forgive me, I'm trying to piece together take 3 on this, but I saw from from 1 to 2, we got pretty strong on local sales tax, liquor tax, sports betting revenue, and tournament revenue. Those are rather bold projections in my humble opinion.
They are. So we went back on sales tax, just based on trends. We still were fairly conservative against what we would normally project, but we looked at, I mean, the state's looking at 1 to 2, 1.5 to 2.5. I think we're about 1.9 overall for what we're expecting. Liquor tax and things like beer tax, we're looking at those. We're bringing our revenue compliance officer up to get that filled, which will allow us to recapture some revenue that right now is, I'm sure that the people who aren't paying are doing so inadvertently. But that'll allow us to capture some more of that. And the Sportsplex, obviously they think with their new turf that they're going to become even more attractive than they are. And I believe they're changing the way they do some of their fees. Is that?
Charging back the tournaments.
They're charging tournament fees again, I think. And so those two things combined, they wanted to increase their revenue numbers a little bit.
And I think down here, I'd love to hear a little bit more of the thought there, because I also thought that there is some potential in year 1 of getting this install done, that there would be some missed revenues due to the, and I mean, they say they can shuffle and get this field done, but it will be a bit chaotic at least year 1 of the turf project. So I'd just like to hear their rationale about the, because what I don't want us to fluff revenues and get our hopes up about what we can afford and then miss our mark in those areas.
You did catch that they are hiring a compliance officer, and he thought that the beer alone would generate revenue.
I think between beer and business taxes, they'll more than pay for themselves and generate quite a bit more if we can get them turned up. I explained to them at the last meeting, the vast majority of our businesses are what they call a minimum business license. And the state doesn't look for them, and we will. So. It also helps with planning and zoning and compliance as far as locations of different types of businesses. So,
They helped me with revenue on page 2. Second item, mental health. We budget, the revised budget is like $115,000, but we only get like $24,000 and $39,000.
Well,
why we keep budgeting so high?
so because the total grant is $115,000, but it is a reimbursable grant, so there are expenses that go to match it. The revenue doesn't increase unless the expense increases. They hope to be able to use all $115,000 of it. They hope to be able to spend all $115,000 of it, but they haven't done so this year so far, and they didn't in 2025.
Does the money go back when they don't spend it?
We don't get it. If they don't spend it, yeah.
I think the sports betting, that was a bit of a jump, $40,000 more next year.
So state shared revenue, for the most part, is relatively flat, which is responsive to the economy to some extent. The one thing that is jumping is sports betting, and you can make your own judgments over whether that's good or not. But that's the only thing that we see a significant increase in state shared revenue. Like I'm talking, now it's not a lot of money, but it's but the percentage increase is fairly high, and they're seeing that. I mean, it's just leaps and bounds. So everybody that's got DraftKings, I guess, is.
Too many college kids on road.
What's the other one? DraftKings and
FanDuel.
FanDuel.
MGM Sportsbook.
Calci.
I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about that. I bought a lottery ticket last year. That's the most gambling I've done in a long time.
Yeah, the fear I have is when you look at the cost of goods and services in today's economy, I don't see any relief in sight as we cruise into this FY27 budget. I hope I'm wrong. However, the revenue does give me pause.
You look at sales tax, and of course there are two sales tax drivers. First of all, the more something costs, the more we collect. And so you got to think whether or not there are certain things that people are going to continue to buy no matter what the price is. They're going to buy bread and milk, and of course some of that's not taxed, but they're going to continue to buy shoes. They're going to continue to buy those sorts of things. I think a lot of the discretionary spending is sort of stagnant at this point. We see that honestly in things like the hotel motel tax even this year, because it's not performing as well as it has in years past. Now, the flip side to that is, as people become accustomed to a pricing level, they just get used to it.
They do.
And so when we talked to, and read some of what the Boyd Center was putting out, I mean, that's why the state anticipates revenue growth anyway, because people are going to become accustomed to the way things cost, what they cost. And, it's one of those, a year ago, we would not have predicted that there would be this inflationary pressure that we're experiencing. And who knows a year from now, where we'll be. Gas tax, of course, continues to go down. Fuel efficiencies go up. Electric vehicles are starting to cut into some of that, though not as much as perhaps they might have. We do get electric. There is a fee assessed in Tennessee for electric vehicles, although that's changing. I don't know if you saw the General Assembly changed how that fee's calculated. I'm not sure if it's good for us or bad for us. Gas tax is relatively flat. Tennessee's gas tax is a per gallon tax, not a per dollar tax. And so as gallons go down, gas tax goes down, or it doesn't go up certainly. This next year is going to be an interesting time to watch the economy. So we've tried to be pretty expansive in some of the expense estimates that we've made. I've tried to be realistic, or at least a little conservative with some of the revenue estimates that we've made, and this is where we are. So
I want to throw another number out there just for discussion. In FY '23, the state budget is audited. Our general fund spent $80 million. This year, we're going to spend $104 million plus $26 million on garnishing. $50 million this year more than what we spent in 2023. It just, here again, it just looks like spending is outgrowing the economy.
For the third budget cycle in a row, the pay raises we gave going into the term that we're currently in made the budget go up significantly.
I got those numbers right here.
Right.
They're significantly, but not
That's
$50 million.
I'm not disagreeing, I'm saying that's the biggest piece of increase that we've seen during this term.
And you just, yes, okay. But it's still $50 million.
We know how to spend money, don't we?
So what would you say we should do?
I think we need to go back and look at what our government thinks is the right number to spend compared to the economy in Jackson, Tennessee, compared to the economy in Tennessee, compared to other cities and all, and not just add on, go back and look. There's probably some things that we could take out of there, and I said, it should be us. It should be the administrator to come and say, here, if you're gonna balance the budget, this is what we gotta do. We don't like it, but this is what we got to do. And it just immediately start talking about revenue. I think that's what's wrong with why we have so much government. Sorry, there's not a bad project in the government, in it. So, anyway, to answer your question.
What's the amount you think we should spend?
I would have to go back and look, but I'd say if you average much more than 3.5% to 4% over the last 10 years, you have overdone estimates for inflation and growth of the city.
So in comparison to last year, you would say just a certain percentage over what we spent last year?
Right.
And what would that percentage be, 3%?
I pick the number. I think that's what we'd have to decide.
And what are some of the expenses that you have uncovered that you think we could do without?
First of all, I'm going to dodge that question because I don't think it's the council's job to go down and nitpick.
But it's our budget.
I think it's our job to approve the budget. I think we should give that to the mayor and.
But have you identified anything that you think should be cut out? And if so-
Yes, but I'm not gonna get into them because it's a political.
Well, you're gonna have to.
Well, you're gonna have to.
It's-
We're about to talk about it.
So-
We're all gonna have to.
Okay, well, my belief in doing a budget is that people like us don't do the detail because we don't know it. I don't know what's happening with the police department like they know.
Well, they're here so you can ask them that.
What do you know that I don't know?
A lot. That's what I'm saying.
So inflation between June of '23 and April of today is 9.15%, just as a reference.
Say that one more time.
That's this year only.
Repeat
Look at
that.
go to 10-year average.
Inflation from June 2023 to today is 9.15%.
That's from June 23, you said?
Yes, sir. Yeah, now if you go back to, you said 10 years, 26, I know Ron's done a lot of,
From 2015 to 2024, you're at just shy of 32%.
Increase?
2016 is
Inflation.
38.
Okay, so give me straight on this. The department heads and you and everybody, y'all got together to figure out what you had to spend and what you could keep and all those kinds of things, and you put it in this document, right? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right, so so they've done what they said that they needed to do to get it done.
And I would add to that, Mr. Richard, because we asked unless there's not one police cruiser in that, there's nothing for infrastructure the fire department, it's bare bones,
Okay.
you know.
So then if they've done all what they have to do and said this is where we have to have this that's in this document, then it'd be up to us to say, well, no, you can cut this, cut that. So therefore, I think you should tell me what you
I have a
think.
question. Did the department heads, go with the rubric? Do we know if they, like, specifically, this is absolute?
They're saying yes.
But that's, you verify that's subjective feedback as well.
It is.
Well,
But
I just, because we're gonna have to make cuts.
because
and I just wanna make sure that-
inform them on how they evaluated what they were spending, especially for the operating costs. It's easier to do that on the capital costs. I mean, just because, but, as they went through that, we were told, to make this a bare bones budget this year. And then even after that, we went back to some of these and asked for cuts. And then the mayor went through and cut quite a bit before they got into this. And then, like I say, in the last week, or since Wednesday, other people cut 150 grand out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Let me frame it this way. Let me frame it this way for council.
Can you finish?
Well, you're finishing something.
Oh, I thought you finished.
Go ahead.
Yeah, start off.
I had just said that from the end of June of end of fiscal year 2015 and fiscal year 24, inflation is just shy of 32%. 32%.
Well, that's the other side of the point. In addition, that the world got more expensive. That has to be accounted for. You can argue the merits of the expenditure, they just got more expensive. You started taking better care of the people, the toilet paper, the radios, everything got more expensive. I mean, smart about it, however, that's the reality that we're facing.
That's the reality our taxpayers are facing too.
Yeah, and I'm a taxpayer too. I don't want to see council. Listen, what I was going to say is council, it is our budget. And what this budget is, it reflects the priorities that we establish as a city. And we are grateful for all the input from all the departments, from finance, mayor's office, everybody involved. Thank you. However, it's our job at the end of the day. And if we want to establish the city's priorities, we have to talk about it. And we can't dodge and say, it's political. Well, whatever you want to call it is what it is. Let's have tough conversations and see where we can land. There is money we can cut. There's money we can save and put it in the areas that we deem more important than other spots.
Where do you want to cut?
We're all a cut? Oh, man, I got a list.
Well, that's what I've been going through, is looking at that
Woo!
circling.
We all go.
Well, now, it's not as easy as saying, cut this, cut that.
Right.
What did I say? Cut this, cut that. Anyway, it's difficult for me to take a blade and just start slicing it all out. What I would like us to do, since we have everybody just about represented in this room, areas, because I don't want to just arbitrarily say, no, you can't have this, no, you can't have that. I think the best way to get it started is to just simply ask questions and seek that justification for why this needs to be important for us as council to pass.
I think, or like, say, I mean, as a council, what do we agree on as the top priority? Stormwater, infrastructure, police and safety, fire. I mean, I would say infrastructure, fire, police, fire, and then from there, what else do we need to make a city run?
I would
But
agree with that.
that's just
but
me.
my-
But I think if we do that,
First responders?
No,
I said, what's that again?
Did you say infrastructure then first responders?
All three of those are,
Or are you
equally
putting
important.
them as in?
All of them are equally important to run a city, is what I'm saying. That's just me, but
I hope we won't get like, I think that this council is in the best position to try to work together. So I will just say mine is police, fire on the same, and then infrastructure. And then the rest of this stuff is really good for, living, the phrase that we
quality
use.
of life.
Quality of
I
life.
mean, so if we can start, where are you guys at with that? I mean, every part and department of the city is extremely important, but there are certain things that you have to run the city. And those three things to me, so, I mean, do you want to start there as a council and then look at the other areas and, I mean.
I would want to throw this out, because this was something Scott, you told us at the last meeting, because I was thinking, okay, let's go ahead and figure out what we need for 5 years, but you said we can only set if we decide for a tax increase or another revenue mechanism, we can only do that 1 year at a time.
And listen to the special revenue fund or enterprise fund, that fee goes to that fund for that purpose. Other than that, general fund is only set every year. You're correct.
Well, I still, the one, so I'm looking to cut before I recommend increasing revenues. I wanna see what we can live without before we talk about what we need to bring in extra. I do, however, JP, I like doubling the city stick. But when we do that, if we do that, take all that money and it goes straight to streets and nothing else. And even still 1.4, I mean, that's a lot. It's not much. So I mean,
Well, my thing with where we're at on the property tax was,
yeah, I mean, you could combine 2 years into one and take.
Let's get that together.
But that would be a more equitable, type of fee.
from just the feedback in the last meeting, hearing from police and fire, and then the department's basically saying I'm not saying we can't cut, there's definitely areas we can cut. But we've had this conversation for the last 2 or 3 years, we keep coming back to this. Nobody, it's like we don't have the guts to say, at some point, this is where we're at, we're gonna have to do this. And again, by 2030, we're committed to step raises. I'm committed to them, you're committed to them. By 2030, that goes up to $20 million. Your revenue, you're gonna have to do something. I mean, there's gonna have to be, something's gonna have to be done.
What I wish we could do, quick, I mean, this is possible, I think, for FY 27. I don't think it's a terrible idea to just, because we've been building budget after just building on the same budget year after year, and I understand you do that to some extent, but I'd love to hit zero on the whole thing and build from scratch. Again, I'm not gonna ask you to do that for FY 27. However, at some point, I mean, I feel like an overall budget, an overhaul is the way we need to approach it at some point.
Corey, you say you got something? Speak, please. We wanna hear from you guys.
I'm gonna go around on this side so I
Nice to meet
can,
you.
so I can see the one that, I didn't get to see last time. All right, look across the table. I wanna follow all the support, the majority of the support so far with the step increase. That means a lot to us. It's just keeping pace with what's out there. It keeps our members from going to other departments, pay bills, whatever they do. And then we say we support first responders. So I'm just gonna ask, and anybody can answer if they want to, what does it mean to you to support a first responder?
You're giving them what they need in order to do their job and protect the citizens.
And also to protect your mental, it's something I didn't think about until the last, your mental stability is something that we do not, we're not thinking about enough.
That's true.
And that means living, what your living condition is, what your work environment is. That goes to your mental state.
Being away from your families, I mean, I'm just, like, when you're the
These are
others.
pictures from every fire station in the city of Jackson. Support's not just about a paycheck. It's not just a city building, it's where we live. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. I want you to look at these pictures. Y'all can pass them around, do with them what you will. But this is what we deal with on a daily basis. This is one of the reasons I invited everybody out last year to try to see, to try to understand, to see what we do and where we do it. One of the comments made was you didn't think it was your job. It is your job to know the people and know the departments that you make the decisions for.
My question, you didn't talk to me?
Yes, sir.
What was the question again? What?
You made the comment that it wasn't, you didn't think it was your job
Do what?
to know the departments.
Oh, well, I said I apologize. I would think did not feel that way.
Well, okay. It is your job to know the department.
Absolutely. Matter of fact,
Because if you did, you would know, and you would see this right here.
I met with the chief person 2 years ago, and I've been so complimentary of what he did and what he's done. So I want to kill that idea. If I slip and says that, I certainly would not believe that. I was volunteer fire department when Kelly Holmes was around.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, what's, because these, a lot of cosmetic issues,
No, black
Oh,
hole.
No.
oh.
let me finish. There's a lot of cosmetic issues. What's stopping us from addressing that, in your opinion?
My opinion,
Please, what are you here for?
I'm here for whatever it takes to have a progressive department with the biggest city between Memphis and Nashville. We need to act like it.
And what does that look like? That's,
To me, that looks like the building's in disrepair.
and,
Several years of not taking care of what they need to be taken care of.
That's years of bare bone budget. That's what he's.
As long as we keep having budget to keep the lights on, these are the conditions that we live in.
yeah, I mean, underfunded, is that the,
I'll let Chief Earls
okay,
speak on
Yes.
that.
that's, I mean, just give it to me straight, what's holding us back?
Yeah, it's underfunded.
Underfunded, okay.
Yes, absolutely. We started when I first took over as chief, we submitted, and we were able to get $300,000 for ARPA money that we were able to make some repairs to our station. As part of making continued repairs, part of making continued repairs, we have been requesting roughly $100,000 a year to be able to get some of these projects done. That's moved from 100,000 to 50,000, 25,000 to 0. That's where we're at. But I do want to say this to the council. This is decades of neglect, right? You guys are inheriting this. We can't put it all on you guys, right? And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to let you know that this is decades of neglect, but what happens is when you have a city council that's sitting, let's just say 10 years ago, they're kicking the can down the road. We really want to do it, but we're going to put it off until next year. We have probably 20 years of that, right? I left here in 2003, and when I came back in 2019, I sit back down in my chair and picked it up just like that, because nothing changed. Nothing changed. And if we're going to continue the services that we need, we got 3 buildings that are 60 years old, 3 of them, and haven't had a major remodel. And so we can go next year and say, hey, it's not our job. But like I said in the email that I sent to y'all, if not us, then who? Right? I share that with our guys all the time. If not us, then who? Are we gonna hand it to our children to fix? Or are we gonna take responsibility and we are gonna fix it? That's the conversation that I have with our firefighters all the time, and they have stepped up tremendously. These guys and gals are running more calls than they were 3 years ago. 100% more calls than they are. And just to be a firefighter now, let's just take it back to 1980. So in 1980, you had 17 minutes to get out of a house fire. Now you have 4 minutes to get out of a house fire, you're gonna die. Plain and simple. So let's just take Cody, for example. 2 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off. He has 4 minutes to get on the truck, get to that house, and he's from a dead sleep 4 minutes later, diving through somebody's window to save them. That's the reality of firefighting now. And so, you know, as I spoke last time, again, I'm very passionate about it because it's not just the funding of the fire department, it is funding of the protection of our citizens. And so if you're gonna cut the fire department, tell me what truck you wanna shut down. I mean, if anybody wants to step up, say, I'll shut down my truck out south, I'll shut down my truck out north. If that's the kind of fire department you want, that's the fire department you're gonna get.
Have y'all
That's a bit of a
seen?
stretch. I don't think anybody wants, no. That's a bit of a stretch again, Chief, with all due respect.
Well, I understand
Not,
that,
not,
but
not when you have a budget that don't allow overtime.
It's just,
It's not a stretch.
let me point out something. In FY 23-24, the police department and the fire department actually got a decrease
Actually, the
of
scale.
9.7%.
that's correct, and I got the graphs right here.
And when we had this big argument, or big debate a few years ago, and we were talking about how the police were driving up the costs and we had to do this, they were. But the police increase was less percentage-wise than the increase in the rest of the budget. And if you just don't happen to know the numbers, the fire and police that year increase was 13.2%. The other departments were 15.3%. So, back to your question, I would look at this other first. I'd leave the police and fire alone and say, what percent has the other gone up, and is there any savings there? You know,
Excuse me, but
We pulled the sportsplex from the special revenue fund into the general fund.
But our budget has been
Well, the sports
increasing. We
place,
squeezed
special
as much
revenue fund
money as we
into
can.
the
And I'm sorry to throw it away, but we're gonna put fire truck out service, but
Yeah, we can't
But-
do
but-
that, Chief.
I know that. But when I hear comments that you're gonna come back to me and ask me to cut the budget some more, I can't do it, guys. I just can't do it.
These
Not
are what the
5%.
cuts look like.
5% of our budget.
Who said we're gonna cut anything
No,
from fire?
I didn't
Because
say, but that's what's been
Well, that's-
happening over
that's-
years.
That's the insinuation that I felt. If I misinterpreted that,
Well,
I
I think
apologize.
what they mean is, we essentially have, because we haven't been doing
We
infrastructure.
have not, others have
Correct,
passed to
correct.
carry down.
Exactly.
So we have a chance to put some money into
That's what I'm
it
saying.
and
How-
get things better. And that's where we do have to talk about the streams of income, how we're gonna get more in to fix these things, because the longer we wait to do it, the worse it's gonna continually get.
If you don't compensate for growth and inflation, you are cutting. So you're doing the same, if not more, with less. So that is a cut, even though the numbers may stay steady or even increase. If you're not keeping pace with what's going on, you're cutting, of course.
I'll just speak for the firefighter association. These are our homes. And not one single person in here runs your home that way or lives in those conditions. And that's what we do, day in and day out.
So to boil it up into an unemotional bundle here, you're underfunded. You simply don't have the funds available.
We are. And-
To do the things that you need to do.
Yes, sir. I'll sit down and go through my budget line by line. In fact, Ms. Larry came and we did that 2 years ago.
so this budget standing
So this
working
budget-
is what he had done especially setting up on buying some of those trucks on the incentive, not incentive, but installment plan, and he actually got trucks paid for with that.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful what you put together here.
Let me ask you this, assuming the step, what do we call the step what?
Just the raises.
Assuming the
That's all
step
the
raises are put back in here for city employees, are you satisfied with the budget that you got in here?
As far as our operating goes, yes, but my point, what I have to qualify that is that at some point, we're going to have to address
The structure.
the infrastructure. And I guess kind of part of where my frustration comes is I remember that we had the same meeting last year.
Yep.
And when we got done with it, it was promised, or not promised, but it was discussed that we weren't gonna let the ball drop. We were gonna get on it right away, and we weren't gonna do that. So back in December last year, I didn't see any traction. So I sent an email updating that some of our needs that we have. And then we did have an open house at the fire department where many of y'all showed up. And I went through a PowerPoint showing the needs that we had. And I also forwarded that PowerPoint to you all, just to try and let everybody know where we're at. It's, so we do get a little frustrated, I do personally, and I shouldn't come off the way that I do, please forgive me, but, I mean, I stay up at night worrying about our guys. I stay up at night worrying about trying to stay under budget because I'm very fiscally conservative, very. But I do believe in taking care of the needs that we have to take care of.
What was that other amount that you said you needed to get, to work those other things out?
Well,
Ballpark.
We were putting in $100,000 a year to address, and what we're doing that is we're kind of piecemealing projects as they come.
Okay.
So just for an example, this year, right now, we're dealing with a $82,000 rework that we have to do at Station 1. And when we asked to be able to provide a very bare bones budget this year, we had the ductwork cleaned out because it had mold in it. And so I asked if we clean the ductwork, can we get by another year and then we could address it next year? So those are just some of the things that we deferred. We're not asking our guys, and we don't want them to live in an unsafe fire station. So we had the ductwork cleaned, but ultimately it needs to be reworked because it's getting mold. Those are some of the things. And quite honestly, when I put in the budget about a fire station, how much it's gonna cost out at the ballpark, I can't tell you how much it's gonna cost because I can't even get the operating money to do a study on it.
What it'll cost today is not what it'll cost in a year.
Right.
So I mean, it's.
And if Great Wolf Lodge comes, he's already done the research, there has to be a fire station out there.
So,
Excuse me, and I just want to throw this out there. So one of the other things, and I sent you all an email as well, that we just went through an ISO rating. And so we are a Class 2. Very few fire departments across the United States are at a Class 2. But what that does is that affects insurance rates. So the better your class, if you had a Class 1, you're going to get excellent insurance rates. You got a Class 2, you're going to get really good insurance rates. But if we drop from a 2 to a 3 to a 4 because we're not able to meet the response criteria or put the manpower or personnel on a fire scene, it's going to lower our ISO rating, which is in turn going to cost the citizens more money in insurance. It is all really tied together financially is where we're putting these fire stations. But also, most importantly, is life safety.
Say that last part.
Life safety, saving lives, yes.
the fire department has been one of the most responsive, police as well, when we've gotten ready to try to look for efficiencies. In some cases, I feel like we're cutting into meat, chief. I mean, but you guys have been great. I mean, the last 2 years, you've been great. The 5-year capital plan is about $218 million. The biggest part of that are public safety investments. And, you know, now, a 5-year capital plan is
think you need to stop right there so people can understand that. That's the point I have been. We have to understand that, because he said the other day, we can only raise X amount per year. Then it's up to next year's to have the response. But we gotta keep this on a upgoing. So that 219 million, express that again so we can all understand together. Please.
So, every year we put together a 5-year capital plan. You guys have seen them printed before. Sometimes it's an aspirational document, but it is, what do we anticipate needing in the next 5 years? And the biggest chunk of that, well more than that, is public safety infrastructure, for lack of a better phrase. It's buildings, equipment, that sort of stuff. And some of that consolidates police department from 5 buildings
Yes, to
to one, you know. And the thing is, you guys may not choose to do it that way. That's possible. But the fact is, there needs to be investments in these fire stations. There need to be investments in our police stations. And these guys have done a good job of trying to plan for that and get ready for that. In 5 years, again, is probably aspirational, but sometime in the next several years, you're going to have to decide how you're going to pay for that. Now, right now, there's not the bandwidth in your budget to even think about paying for those sorts of things. I mean, you're talking about trying to come up with $746,000 to pay a step raise.
That's $742,000. How much of that is police and fire, and how much is other?
I don't know, sir.
That's a key number we need to know, because like I said before, back here a few years ago, we were blaming police and fire, and their numbers were lower. So I think right now we need to broke it down. How much is the step increase for the fire, for the police, and for the rest?
But you can't
You can't
separate
do that.
that.
That's just like saying these are important, these
I
aren't.
get it. Take a
They're
spreadsheet.
all
No.
the same inflation.
If you give one city employee a raise, am I correct? You have to give them all.
You should.
Well,
You don't have to, you can tell them they're not important, they're okay with
Well, yeah, and I mean, they're all dealing with the same gas
you wanna
prices,
tell
the
they're
same
not
housing
important?
prices.
yeah, we're not.
I want to find out where we're spending money to start with. Then we make
It's right here.
Okay, how much of it is police, how much is fire? You don't know.
It's irrelevant.
It's
So
irrelevant.
it is to you and not to me. What I would like to see is where the money is, and then you make a decision. Your decision might be to leave it alone, but at least you know where you're starting. You know, I've never done a budget, but I don't know these
Okay,
numbers.
just guess. Give us a guesstimate. How much? Just guess, so that way that will pacify him to say, hey, we can leave this alone, because that's not what we,
Step raise
you
is the whole-
can't,
the whole
that's,
budget.
you don't.
Not-
No.
The
I
step
think
raise is the whole budget.
Okay.
you're not explaining.
Yeah,
I got fires.
You got
Fires
hired.
around 300,000, give or take. So to do all the step raises and fires.
Okay,
So
let's clarify first, because we,
Police is gonna be
we
talking.
always leave this room fuzzy. We need to, we all wanna work together. Larry, I love you, but you're not explaining yourself. You're not asking the question. If you're asking a question about how many employees we
Okay,
have.
so the 1.4 increase, 920,000 is police and fire.
For fire.
Those are police and
police
fire.
and fire.
That's definitely the largest department.
Now, for everybody, it'd be 1.4.
1.440.
1.4.
Then I hope you will clarify that you're not trying.
What was it? I'm trying to.
1.47 is the total amount, around 920,000 is for police and fire.
That's a guess, but it's probably close.
Yeah. Safe to
So
say
about
yes.
$600,000 for the other.
No, 500,000. no.
1.4 and 9, okay, 500,000. So
Sure.
1.49, something like that. Okay.
Can I just say one thing, just, I'm here representing the fire department, and I know our folks work hard, and I know the police department folks work hard. I'm in no way saying that, you know, parks, street department guys, or anything else are any less important. I mean, they have different jobs than we do, right? But I'm representing our folks, so I'm gonna speak very loudly for them, but I'm no way am I minimizing anybody else's positions in the city. I just wanna make that clear.
Yes, sir. They were out there licensed snow cleaning the roads.
Well, I'd be disappointed if any department didn't fight for its people.
Right, but that's
Yes.
right.
Needs, you know, that's part of the job.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say the most difficult part for us is, you know, if we're underfunded, then, you know, let's work on a plan, let's figure out how to fund it. And there's addition,
That's
subtraction.
right,
Yes, and
but
that's-
we cannot say that, again, I'm not willing to leave, and I'm, you know, look, I'm speaking passionately, I'm looking at you, but I'm not willing to leave the room until we put a date down again, and we say, and get people involved that think we're not spending our money in the best way possible. So as you all mentioned, let's look where we can cut, and then let's say, the only way we can continue to get better is it takes money.
But why are we gonna put a date on it? Why are we not gonna sit here and go ahead and start working on it?
No, I meant our next meeting, to get on after it, to.
I don't know why we would walk away from here
Just
today.
say no, say-
Someone
Yeah.
Oh,
else
I'm
said-
okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
to be
okay with that.
This
I'm
is
okay with
just a
that.
bunch of numbers with a little bit of words, so I mean, I think we owe it to ourselves to ask the questions and dig into these areas where we suspect there may be some area to live without, be more efficient. Because yeah, I mean, this only tells a very small portion of the story. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, we need a balanced budget where we can, yeah, rebuild the general fund, make sure we hit the step raises, and improve our capital.
And I still have somebody that I want everybody to hear from, because I've found a place that I think that the whole city is gonna be in trouble if we don't look at. So I don't want us to start until we hear from everyone that might have another big problem that we need to address.
Let me talk about additional revenue that you actually didn't bring up. And a couple other things that we're doing. Of course, I know you guys have been following the budget committee's work closely. Some of you, Frank has certainly. They're looking toward driving efficiencies as they go forward. Some of the things that they identified, and we've actually taken action on, are development fees. Some of those fees haven't changed in more than 20 years. Is that right, Greg? They were, some of, and so they recommended planning and building, or they've implemented a 3-year plan to kind of bring those up to where they ought to be. And so you'll notice that some of the planning and development fees are quite a bit more this year. I think, was it 700, 600?
My department's like, 250,000.
Yeah, 250,000, I'm just thinking 3 years, I'm sorry. 250,000 new dollars there. Planning is in the same way. They've done some additional things.
Nathan, would you allow him, he had a projection, I asked him about last year with raising the fees. He had a projection of where and how much that would be. Would you share
Yeah,
that?
it was just running the numbers, it's gonna be about 250,000, could be more, depends on the projects that we get coming to Jackson. Increase.
There'll be some tail to it, yeah. And so all of that, Councilman McKelvey, I want you to understand that the folks in this room that are representing the different departments in the city share the goal of trying to drive efficiency and innovate in what's needed here. I mean, they're doing that every day. They're calling us. I know they're calling Ron. Can we do this? Can we do that? And so just, Councilman Lawrence, something you implied is that, or at least I felt like you implied. If you didn't, don't worry about it. This document that you got before you is the third copy you've seen. It's not the third copy we've worked on. We've worked on a dozen copies of this since we started. The numbers were much different on the first draft of this. And there are folks in this room, some of them are disappointed. Because, so it's not like there hadn't been a pencil working on this the whole time since we started the budget conversation.
Can you tell us where those cuts were? I mean, we can go through here and look, but can't we just know?
Every single department.
Almost every single department. There were folks that wanted new people, and we said we're not going to be able to do that this year. There were folks who wanted to increase some of their operating expenses, sometimes to start up some new programs, sometimes to respond to the people that they were getting, you take the people out, you don't need some of the operating support. We cut Well, there's stuff almost in every department. I mean, I lost $1,500 in operating supplies. That's okay, we'll get back. But you saw that across the board. And it's sometimes it's big and sometimes it's small. One of the things that we do, we all do it, it's human nature, is you're looking for a quick fix. I mean, you're looking for a big number. And there were some big numbers that came out. Chief Corley gave up some big numbers this year. But then those $1,500 and $2,000 and $3,000 cuts also add up. And I want you to understand that we got here this is not the first draft of this document. And for the most part, all of the departments here have been very responsive. And I appreciate that. Now, this is y'all's budget to figure out, you know.
Sir, please produce for us the list of employees and then an additional list of vacant positions.
There are no budgeted vacant positions in the FY27 budget except an accountant and a revenue officer.
Okay, internal auditors.
Oh, sorry, that's in there too, yeah. I sent that list to somebody. Who did that?
And what about
Well, if you
engineer?
want to point out line items, one of the things I mentioned to you when we met was asking the internal auditor department for the time being. I feel like the last attempt we had at it, we didn't have great framework for what that position in the department was supposed to be. So before we just throw another warm body in there and pay them as handsomely as we did the last person, I'd like to make sure that we actually have a plan for that position before we fund it, just throw it back out there to hire somebody again.
Ron, you want to address that?
Sure, I can say the audit committee has retweaked that job position to feel like it will be more effective in reducing audit findings on the back end. So that was tweaks that the audit committee suggested to be made, and so and requested. The audit committee also contemplated adding an additional accountant to Nathan's staff to kind of hopefully catch things on the front end versus an internal auditor on the back end. And they felt it was best to have that independence and suggested that we fund on the back end, but ultimately that's just the audit committee's recommendation. It's this body's final decision, but the audit committee did consider how to get more out of that position.
Yeah, I shared that position as well, but since I've shared that and since all these other stuff has come up, I'm rethinking that. Can y'all do without funding that position this year? We can do that?
We did for years prior.
Okay.
I'll be in favor of taking that out.
All right, the reason we felt like taking it out, what was brought up in the audit committee, is looking at the job descriptions. It was made by a person over here that it was not followed. If the job description is followed, it could help departments, not in a bad way, but in a great way to help. Where's your policies? Where's your handbook? Instead of going back to 1992 for the instructions or the building, where's your handbook? Where's your HR policy? So at first I was all in favor of cutting that money. But if it's gonna get our bottom line better and help each one of these employees, they need help anywhere they can get. So the audit committee looked at that and made red line changes. And now the audit committee understands their position, that they have to go to the auditor and say, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Show me. Come to me every single month and tell me what you did. How'd you go help the police department? How'd you go help the fire department? How'd you make them better?
I agree with that.
That's what was said.
Right, I was one of the ones that said that. But now I can publicly say I have changed my mind.
Well, as a member of the audit committee, how much of that could the audit committee do in step with chief of staff?
There's no way. I'm gonna tell you one, there's none. The three of us are on that. We come in from after city council and we're spent. And we've discussed this. He's on his phone, no bad mouth. You're sitting down there still worried about what was discussed. And I'm over here upset by who might be mad or something. I mean, it's for real.
Have y'all discussed doing today? Because capturing you fresh off a city council meeting.
Yes.
Could be challenging.
Yeah, we're gonna have that. And also, you were looking at 100,000 that position was. What we got from Kelsey Merriweather is of one person, only one that they felt was even qualified. I might not be talking about 40 to 70,000, but if it pays 800,000, I'm just gonna say, where we got in trouble is not having I'm gonna hold myself responsible, the guts of saying, there's a problem right there and I'm not gonna stand for it anymore. I didn't have the guts enough to really do that. I have seen the information now and I have the guts enough to say, we should have been doing better in the audit position and committee, period. So.
Yeah, for the sake of staying on track, I wanna make sure, because we're kind of getting,
Yeah.
that we finish hearing from the fire department, so we can move to police department, civic center. I know you want to hear from Nick, because I want to, we got a few firemen that wanted to speak, and I just want us to be able to hear from
I agree.
everybody.
I
we
just
need to
want
hear from.
everybody to have a good picture and look at the audit. You can go on there and listen to the meeting. I suggest that. Thank you.
So, are we saying yes, we wanna cut the internal auditor, or?
No, we're not saying that. I won't cut it, but I don't think we are.
I think you have to ask the mayor, because when we put this in place, the budget committee and the audit committee did not understand what they were supposed to be doing. I've been on it since the beginning. We weren't doing a darn thing. Right now, I think we're getting to where we're saying, hey, and you can attest to this, you come to all the meetings. Now we're saying,
Well,
that is
without
our
an internal auditor, more of the work is gonna fall on Nathan and Ron.
right.
Because they're the ones that are going to get criticized for us.
I've just stumbled in here, it's fun.
Well, one of the things you mentioned, Nathan, is, departments wanting new employees, so how do we determine want versus need?
Well, so you asked for numbers, and I actually did this with Councilman Lawrence. Did you ever look at it?
I've never been.
I know you do, I know you do. And so there are 2 vacancies in my department, there's a revenue officer and an accountant. Both of those they've been there, we just got to fill them. There are 10 in fire operations, although Chief, I think those people are in the pipeline now. You've got 10.
They are, yes.
Yeah, man, you started them a month or 2 ago, you're just getting them.
Yes.
They just weren't out there, and then, there's 1 in fire training, 1 in stormwater operations, was that one funded?
There's 3 requested.
Okay.
That's all, also know what.
And you got them down to 1. And then there's 1 in street maintenance, 1 in street admin, 1 in municipal maintenance, but that one's unfunded.
Now 2 were unfunded in there.
Okay.
We just kept the 1.
Okay.
It's all the purpose.
And then for the rest of them appear to be all part-timers for one purpose or another. So like the Sportsplex concession workers, they weren't filled when we ran the projection, and so they're just not in here. So what is that, 12, 13, 14 maybe? Yeah. So those are the vacant positions in the FY27 budget, and some of them won't be vacant by the time we get to FY27.
Now go back and address Julie's question. If you are going to use an audit committee, then you need to go back to that audit committee, question them, look at the research that is done, because the mayor asked the audit committee to make a recommendation. So I would suggest it's online, quiz the chairman, find out what research they've done, find out from the comptroller's office. They're always gonna say, yes, you need it, but find out how it can help us, how it can help him, how it can help us have a better moving forward.
Yeah, rather than us fishing through an hour-long Facebook video, could someone boil it down into like a 1-page or something?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. I will send you all, every one of you all on council, anybody else that wants it, what the job description was. I'm trying to be, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so. Will you say it over there?
I told you, I agree with all that. I've changed my mind right now in light of the fact that we got this budget. I want everybody to get their step raised.
Oh, well,
So that's why I'm changing my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that. We need to do that. That person will help us with the audit. They could come and find stuff that we may not have done before it gets to the controller. I agree with all that. But still, in light of that, I changed my mind. And I would want your department to try to just handle that for this 1 year. And then next year, if we have the money, we can go back to it.
But you can't. Can you please explain, there has to be a difference between internal audit and the city recorder?
Just about everybody. Well, first of all, most cities in Tennessee name the recorder the internal auditor. If you look at charters all across the state, they say that. But it's not necessarily a healthy thing. Internal audit, for the most part, functions on processes and efficiencies and policies. That's what they focus on. Do we have a policy on this, and are we following it? Whether that's a financial policy or risk management, the whole 9 yards. And then, an internal auditor is tasked by the audit committee to go look. It may be, are we following that policy? Are we doing? They could do a mini staffing study to say, do you have enough people in municipal maintenance? Are there too many? They may say at the garage, these are the TOSHA policies that we've got. Are we following them before TOSHA shows up and tells us that,
Yeah, they got a working part too.
Yeah, and so, I mean,
Okay, hold on just for a minute. Because of the dilemma we're in, could you handle it or address it for a while or not?
I don't, none of those things.
You cannot?
Those things are really outside the scope of what we do, although.
Just say no then, Nathan.
To the point, Richard, I mean, that's what keeps getting us in trouble is trying to, polish a turd, so to speak.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate some honest conversation. That's underfunded. Tell me that. Yeah, that's the end of the
The
day.
internal control policies,
Let
we
me
can
know.
handle, we can work on internal control policies as we have the bandwidth to do so. Those are things that we are equipped to do, as far as financial internal controls. But as far as the rest of the policy stuff, policy committee is doing some of it. But they meet once a month, I mean, sometimes twice.
Can I ask you to just put down on a piece of paper, maybe $50,000? That would probably, and that's just a wild guess, how much an internal auditor possibly, not over 70, is what came from Kelsey Merriweather. It was 50 to 70,000 that she said was in the advertisement for, is that wrong? Scott?
It's higher than that.
That's not what was budgeted.
What is budgeted for that? See, that's that right there. What's budgeted?
The budget was a top end, whatever it was.
Right at 100,000.
Well, that's wrong.
Range from 72 to 90 something.
Okay, I don't wanna take any more.
72 to 90.
Pre-benefit.
I'd like to take that money and do some open mediation at our emergency services.
The posting is for 78 to 93.
That's not what we were, okay, that's not what we have in our minutes.
Yeah, so the total budget for internal audit's 126,000.
Let me say my little part out there. When last time we raised taxes, man? 2003. 2003. I mean, we are going in circles. They're getting the information. We know what their needs are. We keep on going back and forth. This, here. We know what we need. I mean, it's been given to us several times. I've been on council ever since 1999.
You should be raising the taxes.
Well, no. I'm trying to say that. I got one vote. No, stop. I'm there. I have one vote, okay? I think I've been on record several times, and I live in probably Portsmouth, and so I hate to do it to my people, but if we're gonna continue to progress this city, what we got to do, y'all can't be scared to raise taxes. But I've said it several times the last meeting, we can't stop kicking the can down the road and do something. I mean, whether it's taxes, whether it's raise, put it on the wheel tax or whatever, we gotta do something. We keep on going around in circles saying what we're gonna do. People gave us what they need. So we gotta stop being scared we're gonna get elected again, or whatever. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Well, we talked last year, I mean.
And we didn't wanna raise
There was a
last
talk
year.
about race, and I personally, and I think Marta said, we didn't wanna, put that on our
Until they
districts
know.
until they know. So now, I think within the last year, I mean, they're hearing and they kinda.
But it's not just raise taxes, it's raise revenue in all kinds of different areas, it's not just raise taxes.
I'm not-
It's
okay, that's what I'm
stickers, it's
saying,
permits, It's
It
not
is.
letting things be developed, it's make you bringing in more property tax, I mean, there's so much that could be done, so we could be generating money that could go back into these departments that need it.
And we agree.
And we
rested
skip around
plans
it
4
every
years
year, and we
ago.
say, we're gonna meet, and we're gonna go through it, we're gonna go through it, we're gonna go through it, and every year, we really don't and we pass it through and we're like, okay, next year we're gonna do better, then the next year comes and we're still having the exact same conversations over and over, we are beating a dead horse.
Well, and last meeting, I brought up the fact that I was told by Stan in 2026, we would start sidewalks, right? I mean, I think Southside's probably the only high school in the city that doesn't have sidewalks that run from Chester Levy to Harts Bridge. I see children walking to school every, single day, and they don't have a sidewalk to walk on. They're having to, and on a foggy morning, I mean, I don't know what, God forbid, it's gonna take one of them getting killed, but so I asked the question, well, the money's not there to do it this year. And I mean, that's unacceptable to me. My district, South Jackson, we've got a high school and we don't have sidewalks for the kids to walk on for the ones that are walking to school. I mean, I do too.
Have we had any conversation with the school system, see if they could partner with us in some way?
I was gonna ask about grants, since we're starting so much in grants, if there would be possibility of a grant.
Is that 45 South close enough?
School, because of the school.
The safe schools, safe street school, they don't have a program anymore.
So I mean,
But we're gonna be putting in sidewalks at some point from Parkway to Skyline.
Okay.
Along Highland.
Well, it's real easy it's real easy to hit the property tax rate and jump the revenues that way.
Let's see if we can cut.
But I'm not saying just do the tax rates, like I said, like she said,
I
what
think
have to do is just look at
there are whole
it.
areas to bulk it, it just
Yeah,
doesn't.
look at all the things, but we keep on saying that, so when are we gonna do it? That's all I'm saying.
Well,
That's the point I
if we can make the cuts, like, let's talk about that, and
You're
then
not gonna be
we're
able to
still
make
in the
it.
And if you
hole.
make the cuts,
We
we're still
agree
gonna have
that.
fire departments,
We agree
that
that.
stuff, we're still gonna have
And-
police without what they
and-
need, we're still gonna have people not getting the raises they need, I mean, we can cut,
But
cut,
now let's.
and then we're just gonna crumble all over.
Okay, let's go ahead and say we are 100% committed to those raises. We said that last week. We're 100% committed. And follow up on Julie's thing, not crumbling. But my thing about raising taxes is, let's be honest with the people. If we're overspending, if we think we're overspending, let's look at some of these things we can cut. And then let's get a plan to say, is it 2%? But we can't fix everything this year.
But we always ask that
You're right,
We
you
gotta
can't,
do it next
you
year
can't,
and the
yeah,
next year
and
and the
that's
next
why, I'm
year.
like, why can't we just go ahead and
Yeah,
start?
And
And
then
everybody
these
keeps saying we're overspending, where are we overspending, let's talk about it.
we keep
That's
asking
what
that
we're
question
trying
of,
to-
where do you wanna cut?
Okay,
Where
you
do
brought
wanna
some
cut?
of it up
Where do
the
you
other
wanna
night.
cut?
I love the people that love your blog, but I'm not gonna call them when my house is burned.
That's right.
Well, you just
I love a lot of these things, but is it what we're supposed to be, first of all, spending our money?
But I think we also have to look at, like, for example, financial empowerment.
Yeah.
Some of these things that we do, the cost that government would end up funding anyway.
You need to look at that.
Disagree on
Well, the increase in that is 400,000,
I'm sorry.
Larry.
We'll look at it privately.
We can't do that.
We
No,
can't.
we don't want to look at it.
And I wouldn't look at it privately.
There's no-
can't
We're
do
in
it
here,
privately.
let's do it.
Rich Business, I love that program I've sent to it, but the cost efficiency, I think it's like $1,000 a session. And that's pretty high, it shouldn't quite be that.
Well, if you wanna cut it, cut it. That's what we're saying though. Now's the
Yeah,
time,
bring it
we're
up
in the
here.
public, let's do it.
Well, that's only $150,000.
let's let people talk.
Well,
Only.
where's
you
the
want to say-
salary for Tyler? Cause it's not in the financial empowerment.
It's in the Office of Innovation salaries line item.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, well then I thought we had an Office of Innovation person too.
That's,
Office of Innovation is a department, it's a team.
Okay, well, maybe we need to understand, because if we are going, that's what, I don't wanna speak for Larry, but I was trying to understand when he was talking about how many raises, we're talking about how many people.
Right.
And if we wanna say, well, this isn't necessary to me, but somebody else on council, it might be real necessary to them. So we're gonna sit here and say, I think this is necessary or not
we
necessary?
just have to talk about, like, so.
Okay.
We gotta hear it out.
Specifically,
I just-
Office of Innovations, how many people are in it? And then, what are
Five.
they responsible for? Do we need all of those programs? Do we need all those people? And that's just to what Russ was saying about leaning down. I mean, there may be like, too many bodies that we need to lean down on.
Well,
So, Office of Innovations,
I
how
can
many
talk
are there?
about them as supervising. So one of them is Abby. She's your grant
Okay.
manager.
Yeah.
She's applied for $6 million
Right.
grants this year alone. You've obviously seen those coming in.
Mhm.
She also leads data process improvements. So using increasing our data collection. For example, she just landed us in a cohort to use 311.
We know what she does.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Because
were
we've
actually
had that-
asking.
We've
I'm
had
sorry.
that, discussion on breaking everything down.
Okay.
With their
She used to run your,
presentations.
love your block.
Yeah, so what else? Abby, who else is in it? We know what they're
Sure.
doing. now.
So then you have Elvia, who took Abby's role, that runs mobile tools shed, lawn
Love Your
care, Love Your Block, litter pickups
Mm-hmm.
throughout the city. We have Chantel, that is her assistant, that's the neighborhood specialist. So
I'm sorry,
What
I don't
is-
know about Chantel.
Why does she need an assistant?
Yeah.
What's the justification there?
well, one, they have multiple home repairs that they do. It's not an additional position, it's always been there. She also does the Keep Jackson Beautiful as well. She runs that program. Then you also have, and that's in the solid waste fund, so that doesn't have any general fund costs. Then you also have Claire that runs, for example, Neighborhood Academy. A lot of your constituents, they do that.
Christiana.
Christiana's in public affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
Public affairs had a significant increase.
That's because Christiana's salary was incorrectly in last year's budget in innovation
Okay,
and moved over to public affairs.
okay, thank you.
So you actually should see a decrease in innovation salaries this year and an increase in public affairs just because of that salary moving over.
I mean, realistically, you just need to look at
Innovation,
all the departments and, I mean, quite frankly, I didn't even know the assistant, I mean,
That's taking Chrissy on.
I feel like the department was ran, I mean, it's always been, and so why we bring somebody else in?
We did it. She just backfilled the position.
Okay,
We didn't
I was
add.
here 7 years ago, Love Your Block started with a grant
Mhm.
of $30,000 a year.
I mean, I would say, keep in mind, the program in total is 40,000 and kept 11 seniors from having code violations last year. So, I mean,
11 seniors,
right, 11 seniors from being cited by code.
so that's $40,000
Right.
that we could use. I mean,
Run this.
nobody wants to take away jobs, and nobody wants to, you know, I mean, hurt people's feelings, but.
It's, when Love Your Block started, those first 2 years, it was entirely grant funded.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful gift.
And it is still,
And we
have to
didn't
look
put
at
the
what's
money
in.
in.
These amenity services have gotten really expensive. And we're funding these things at the sake of fire, police.
Giving them free
I
Like
mean,
this,
Yeah,
I mean, that they could do certain upgrades on things.
So that right there is what they're fixing on senior citizens who are on fixed income.
Okay, I mean,
Well,
11
hey,
a
you
year.
know what though, Scott? We don't have churches and nonprofits that can go fix our fire
Yeah,
stations.
we
police
don't.
departments.
They're not fixing senior homes either.
Well,
And
Okay,
that for-
well, that's-
If that's the case, so be it. That's not serving the infrastructure, the emergency
That's
service
not.
needs. I understand, it's a great program. We can
It is.
afford
That's
it.
not serving
When
Jackson
we run
as a
it.
whole, I mean, a
We
large.
can't afford these amenity
It is.
services. We can't afford them.
And no.
Do you have a plan to fund it?
Yeah, so we can cut the entire third floor and just have me up there answering phones by myself. 'Cause that's the only department we're talking about.
That's a ridiculous
No,
thing to
let-
say.
I'll let you say much ridiculous stuff if you're gonna let me talk for a second.
Okay, boss man.
We can cut the entire third floor. It's still not gonna cover the needs we have going forward. That's the reality.
And we.
If we're talking about capital needs, employee needs, we're down at 210 police officers now. We need 225.
I respectfully just want to say, we are just trying to say to the public, we are doing the best job we can. Here's your money. If you feel like we shouldn't be spending it in that way, let's make this the toughest, let's do it. I think one person could do that job. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but right now, when they don't have the money, if it's a choice for me and it's a cut I have to say I have to make, it's a cut I have to make. And I'm not saying you're up there working your tail off, not directing this at you, and I'm being very passionate right now. I'm just speaking from the heart. It's time that I put my big things on and I'm just gonna say it. I want to be brave enough to say that we owe the public where we're spending our money, and if it is not in 99% of the public's best interest, then we've got to move on. But I would be the champion to find someone to take over that, the tools. My parents, my in-laws need that. I would be the first to say, I want help where we can still, the community help it. But if we want to be honest, then that's my truth. And I don't want to dare hurt your feelings, but that's my truth.
I think though, the problem with it that we have is, and that's a piece of the puzzle. That is a piece of the puzzle, and we want to cut it. I mean, I did say that last week. I said, you know, if I'm robbed by a crackhead on Main Street or if my house is on fire, I'm not calling Love Your Block. I'm calling these guys. So they do take the priority. However, we're not talking about, we're talking about what we're going to need is millions, and we're talking about $100,000.
Yeah.
So but I would, if it's okay with the rest of the council, I would like to finish hearing from
Absolutely.
our time is, which I can be here all night.
Yeah, you said that last
I can't.
I understand. The people that want to speak, if a constituent here wants to speak, this gentleman's been waiting patiently to speak. And we hadn't heard from police yet.
No, and I've asked.
And the Civic Center, yeah.
Any other questions for me at this time?
Thanks, Ron. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
For now.
Y'all match.
I just want to second what Corey and Chief said about, we truly do appreciate considering the step raises and honoring that. It's my understanding, and I could be mistaken, but those step raises were from an evaluation that had been done, which found us insufficient. So they're not cost of living raises. Those are the city's way of catching up to a insufficiency that was already in place. So if we're being totally honest, those step raises get us to where we should be, a projection to where we should be in 14 years from when they were done. But they still don't compensate for inflation. That just gets us to, comparatively speaking, to other departments at the end of that term. That doesn't keep up with inflation. It keeps up with inflation, but if, say they did the study us against Murfreesboro, and Murfreesboro gets a cost of living raise, we get a step raise, we never catch up to where their base level was. So those step raises, I saw a lot of talk online about raises. They're not actually raises. It's not us saying we want extra money to go have fun with. This was a pay study that was done that found us insufficiently compensated. And this was the city's way. They said, we can't give you all this money right now, this year, to make up for that. So let's project it out over 14 years so that we can gradually get there and it doesn't hurt the city too bad. And everybody was happy to hear that and everything was great. But that still doesn't compensate for the cost of living. If we don't get that 2.5% or whatever it is, plus 3% inflation last year, that's 5.5%. We're falling behind. And any time that we fall behind, we're actually taking a pay cut.
Let me ask something too. I'm sorry to jump in there. The cost of insurance is increasing for employees this year?
Yes.
9%.
9%, yeah. Yeah, I caught that in the last meeting.
So our percentages are actually going down.
Yeah. So yeah, even with the step raise, the insurance is eating into a significant part of that.
Right. And we still deal with the cost of living going up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think
By
it's safe to
7%
say
if
across
you're
the
only giving
board,
a 2% step raise.
nobody in here is saying no step raises.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate,
I think that.
yeah, I think that seems to be the consensus.
I don't want that to get lost though. That's not what this is just about.
No,
There's a lot
it's not
bigger-
lost on me because the one thing that I have come back and said every single time that I've
No,
talked is
what
we've got to
I mean,
find a
though,
way
is
to
that-
get more revenue to get the other,
Yes,
because
right.
this is not gonna fix near your problems.
No, it's just, I'm not gonna say it's a small portion. It's a piece of the pie, but the pie's a real big pie.
Yeah, but it
you
is a
know.
small portion. Let's get real. Let's get real.
I mean,
So
need
until we increase
couches and
revenue
washing
flow,
machines.
until we get some more revenue coming in and things coming in, y'all are still gonna have insufficiencies. It may not be on this, but it may be in your buildings, it may be, police are gonna have it, everybody's gonna have it until we can still generate in some more flow of income. And so while, yes,
Right.
I'm not saying it's not lost on me, but sometimes I wonder if it's lost on others. Does that make sense?
Well, I think,
I just didn't want to be the total focus of the conversation, because our problems are a lot bigger than just that step
Right.
increase.
these
We have to
photos,
have growth.
I just feel like the step
These
increases
photos
are a
address-
no-brainer. You know, can we get the emphasis on bringing in more?
Well, the tough spot that we're in is we've got several months to figure out how we're gonna fund this next year. I can't promise you that we're gonna adequately fund the FY '27 budget. I just wanna do the best we can.
Right.
With the time we have.
I just want people to understand when I talk about the step raises, that this
Give
is,
him the respect right now.
this is not a raise in the sense that we're asking for more money. It's a raise in the sense that we were undercompensated to begin with, and we're trying to make up for it. I would like to say, I don't attend many of these. I'm not a political person. I don't know a lot of this stuff, the numbers and all this stuff. But I will say, just from a human standpoint, this city is an organism. And all the departments depend on each other department. You know, we had a water leak and the street department came and fixed our water leak. We had a door that wouldn't open to allow our fire truck to get out, and the maintenance department came to fix our door. You know, this is an organism, and if you don't feed the whole thing, it dies. If you only feed the fire department, the other departments like police and maintenance and grounds and every other department in the city, that is infrastructure. That is the infrastructure. That's the bones of the city. And if you deprive any one of those departments, it affects the other departments. When I go for a gunshot wound, they call the fire department to come for a gunshot wound. I'm waiting for police to clear that scene and tell me that it's safe for me to come in and enter. If they don't have the proper officers and resources to do that, I have no way to go in there and save somebody's life. I did want to hit on the email that Chief sent. I'm going to try not to be too long-winded. This ISO rating, it's an outstanding rating. It's something to be proud of. It's something for the fire department to be proud of, the city to be proud of. But I want people to also see it as a source of revenue or a source of income, because this saves the citizens money, tangible money. If we drop from a 2 to a 3, property insurance can go up anywhere from 1 to 5%. You know, that's a big deal. And I guess my main point in saying any of that stuff, anytime those scores drop or get worse, insurance companies raise the premiums. That attracts commercial, sales. That attract everybody's property insurance goes up, and it ends up being a significantly larger number than any tax increase. Or, I'm not advocating. I don't think any of us are advocating for or against tax increases. That's not our job. My job is to get on the fire truck.
But since you brought that up, do you think a tax increase would probably be appropriate?
I honestly have no idea.
As a citizen, do you think, you heard all the what we've been talking about?
I think that what I'm hearing at this table is a direct, it resembles strongly what the departments have done within. We have eaten ourselves. We have done away, 20 years ago, we had 210 firefighters. Now we have 167. Mm-hmm. We have eaten ourselves to the point, we're talking about shutting down these extra employees or whatever. I'm not even sure what they are. I'm telling you, I'm like base level here. But we're talking about shutting this and shutting that down to fund that.
Yeah.
At some point, it costs more to live than it did 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago.
Right.
And I don't know what that looks like. I'm not advocating for or against a tax increase.
Sound like you're advocating for one.
I'm saying that
nothing wrong with
it costs more to run this city today than it did 20 years ago.
There you go. Okay.
And you've got to come up with that money from somewhere.
Right.
I don't know if that looks like a tax increase or
increased revenue
or selling pies outside of Walmart. I don't know what it looks like. I just know that it costs more, fuel costs more, employees cost more, health insurance, everything costs more. And you can only scavenge. I hear you guys doing with your budget what Chief Rillis had to do with his budget. And long term, it doesn't lead anywhere good.
Yeah.
We're at a crossroads with this ISO certification, that's not a permanent certification, that's gonna be reevaluated. So we're at a crossroads where we can either pay more in taxes or whatever it is to try to generate more income, or we can pay more in homeowners insurance. And those premiums outweigh whatever increase the citizens will have to pay in tax increase.
Well,
We're talking about on
Say it again. Explain it again. Please say that part again.
the insurance premiums going up will far outweigh the increase in taxes if we were to raise the taxes. On a, somebody that pays $1,500 a year, if we were to drop from a 3 to a 4, you're looking at $75 to $300 a year increase in insurance. These are really rough numbers because the insurance companies don't. I actually called Farm Bureau this morning, that's my insurance company. And I said, do you guys use ISO ratings for my premiums? And they said, yes, it's an equation, or it's a factor in the equation, but they don't know exactly how much that factors into anything. But, you know, if you pay $300 a year, dropping from a 3 to 4 could make the difference between $150 and $800 a year in insurance premiums going up. If you go up $1 per $100, you're looking at $625 on a $250,000 house. That's a rough number. I have no idea how close that is. But my point still stands, is that these insurance, not to mention employment opportunities for these big, you know, companies coming in and hiring a bunch of employees and the revenues of that thing.
I want to ask a question. To the police department, I wrote down some things about and the internal auditor, you heard me say that, I could see that one going away, say never mind. The police aviation, is that something absolutely necessary, or is something that we like to have? You can be very short in your answer.
I will be very short in it. The budget for aviation, our aviation unit is extremely small for exactly what we have. You go to some other departments that have aviation equipment and have that resource, they're paying 3 to 5 times that budget.
How much is yours? I forgot.
A couple $100,000.
Couple $100,000. THP aviation budget. Okay, but what I'm asking is it absolutely necessary?
Yes, you would want it to be out there.
The gang units. The gang unit absolutely necessary.
I think if you think about the crime that we're having is gang related.
And more so.
I sent it out.
That's what I'm asking. We still having the crime, but we still paying all this gang stuff.
Yeah, but we
Is it working?
Councilman
More than.
Do you wanna knock out one and find out the facts?
So I'm asking.
But you're asking.
Councilwoman.
Okay, let's get back together.
Councilwoman Busby asked me to get our ShotSpotter data together over the last year. And I sent that to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody got that, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, those aren't accidental discharges.
Okay. But I'm asking, what's the outcome on the gang unit? Do they show the impact and the outcomes that they have made?
Yes.
Do we have that somewhere we can read it?
Yes, we can give you, our arrest stuff is out there all the time, and our prosecutions of those gang members.
All right. Very
And
good.
you
All
also
right,
answered it by saying what you had to cut when we had a more active gang unit.
Yes. The
Okay.
gang unit in and of itself was probably 3 times the size it is right
All right,
now.
so you gotta have that. What about the K9 unit? You gotta have that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's,
All right, so
well,
what-
we're on K9, I'm sorry to jump in, that one did have a big increase, what do we attribute that to?
Yes, we had some of the increases, we've had 2 or 3 K9s retire. We still take care of them as far as medical and things like that. We've added some K9s as well. Some of those were grant driven and money we got from EMA or somewhere else that paid for those. But we have to pay for their maintenance and their gear and their, their vests, all those kinds of things.
Police annex bills, what is that?
I'm sorry?
Police, what is police annex what?
It's a building.
That's one of the 5 buildings.
That's
that we're in.
Annex.
building.
Oh, okay.
Police annex building.
All right, and the total police extra duty?
Oh, we're 100% reimbursed for extra duty.
Yes.
There's an offset.
Extra duties where officers get hired by private businesses to do security and they pay for them.
Okay, but that's okay.
Can I piggyback on what he's been saying? 3 years ago, I asked the question in here because I personally knew someone very related to the gang task force. And I said, why is this being cut back? And I couldn't get an answer. So we're bringing it all out now. Crime is one of the main things that our city is wanting to address, so we cut that. So let's be mindful of that moving forward. It was cut.
Maybe
It was
explain
cut.
why it was cut. How?
Okay, so it's not the sense that they were cut. It's that we have to have police officers answering calls for service. And if we don't have enough patrol officers on the street to do that, we can't assign any of those into CID or gang unit or narcotics or anywhere else. I have to have calls for service because you're gonna call 911 and you're gonna want a cop showing up. So as much as I would love to have 10 more people in the gang unit, I'd love to actually have 10 more people in my community relations environment because that's what they need to be out there. But I can't because I have to have patrol officers on the street. And just as the mayor said earlier, we're at 210. We should be about 225. If Great Wolf Lodge or anything else happens around here, we should probably be about 240 because the service population is jumping. But there are 0 positions for patrol officers in this year's budget that you're looking at. I can only hire one if somebody retires.
Well, then there needs to be a different adjustment there as well.
There's no equipment in there really for them. Yes.
If you found somebody ready to come to work and you came, we would not turn him down to adjust the budget.
Well, we just have.
No, I'm saying.
Well, we make adjustments year to year is what has happened in the past. We've made adjustments and then we don't quite know what we're doing.
Can I go back to aviation, because I know we're ordering some new drones, funded through a grant. Will drones be able to eliminate some of that need, or is that just?
They're different response. They're different response.
So we can't do that, well, I mean, obviously a drone and a helicopter, two totally different things.
They are to supplement our aviation, if you will.
And listen, when I ask questions, I'm not saying you don't need this, I just wanna know.
We just wanna understand.
Yeah.
And all of the drones are all grant funded.
Yeah, right.
So 2 years ago, we had started the salary increases. That's helped you hiring, but it hadn't solved the problem.
Absolutely not.
So what would
Absolutely
help?
not. Some of it is the positions that we need, but the salaries is not. The step raises are great, just like these guys are talking about. The step raises are there to, they're cost of labor increases. They're not cost of living increases. And we'll start, our officers are starting at $56,000 a year, okay? $56,000 a year for a 210 person department in a town of 70,000. There's towns in this state that have less than 20,000 residents that are starting their officers at 70 to 75,000. That's what we're gonna lose to. That's what the fire department's gonna lose to if they don't continue, we don't continue to do it. So I'm gonna go off with Councilwoman Wallace. If you guys are all on board with the step raises, yes?
Yes.
Yes? All right, then get that out of the way. You already done that, right? Let's figure this rest of this out, okay? And I'm just saying, we're going, you guys are, and I know you got a lot of things buzzing in your head, but you guys are going all around the world. All right, and I have 100% respect for every one of you, absolutely. But I sit around a table like this with 10 members of my command staff, and if we were trying to solve a problem this way, that gentleman over there would be firing my rear end.
I agree.
Okay, and I'm just trying to be blunt with it. Okay. The people come first, absolutely, 100%, and then the resources and the infrastructure. However you guys want to put that. If you got any other questions, I'll be glad to answer.
I do. What will it take for starting salaries? Or whatever else to get the number of people in there for you?
I think as long as we're continuing to increase those salaries, then I think we're still going to be in a position where we can probably hire. But our officers are just like the fire department talking. They're doing more calls for service than they ever have. Some of our officers. That means more court time, which means times away from their family, and all those other things. When they can go to the next neighborhood down the road, the next city down the road, and make just about as much money, and a take-home car, which we can't give them all. Less court time, more time with family, and less stress.
Frank, you're looking at for 15 additional officers, $1.1 million.
court
Well,
time was something that we were trying to address
No.
too, and it's ridiculous.
My question was, how much does the starting payment be? To incite, to entice, thank you, to entice people to come.
I couldn't give you a particular number, and here's the thing, we did the staffing study. We just got a new one from MTS last year or so. It says we probably need to be around 235, 240. The salary studies, again, just put us get into the position where we can get better, not great. To be there, you know, in our neck of the woods and how much population and the service population we're dealing with, obviously, easy over $70,000 needs to be started. But I can't tell you that. I'm not the people to do that type of study. But I can tell you that's what I'm losing them to. If I'm losing an officer right now, they're going to TBI or FBI or somebody else that's going to give them $80,000 to $100,000 a year. They're going to go to THP and get $90,000 a year within a couple of years.
Can you just tell them who you lost?
I've lost several.
The TBI or forensic?
Well, another thing that's gonna add to it is we're trying to hire a couple of certified officers, and I talked to one of them, and the first question he asked me was, what retirement am I gonna hire in under? And of course, it's gonna be before July, so, you know, I told him what we're under, the legacy right now. And he said, oh, okay. I said, well, is that gonna make a difference? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Because of what they're gonna have to contribute out of their salary. If you look at some of the agencies that have gone to the legacy, TBI, THP, what else came with that? A big pay raise. So we're gonna have to look at that down the road, because we're gonna not necessarily lose people, but they're not gonna come, because it's 9%, I think.
But I think that,
The city currently contributes 22%.
I'm talking about pay raises. I mean, I'm just paying. What do we need that you would feel comfortable so that this guy gets more money on the front end that you're trying to hire to compensate for whatever is the other holdback?
Yeah, I think this should be comparable for most of the things. Again, it's gonna have to be over $70,000. I can't tell you exactly. Should it be 72? Should it be 78? Should it be 80? Maybe.
And we're now at
56.
201.
And can I just quickly, Chief Riddle, how much does the starting fireman make?
46,801.
Okay. So how much do you think you guys need starting to, like, get people coming in?
Well, it needs an increase. I mean, we haven't had an opportunity to study it. We've been up under.
I just wanted to make that point.
But it is.
They are significant. I mean, both of you guys do amazing work, and you guys are significantly paid less.
This is not, there's no one answer to any of this. You know, if Chief was able to get that $70,000 to offer that man or woman, and then he puts them in a car with 250,000 miles on it. You know, it's a big picture. You guys
We're working on the car.
I know, but I'm saying,
He's making a point that.
I'm making a point that it's an overall picture. If Chief Riddle can offer somebody $60,000 a year, but they have to go live in squalor, they're gonna go somewhere else. This is a big picture. We're not here complaining about any of this. We're screaming at you guys that there's a tsunami coming. These departments are falling apart if we don't do something proactive to bring them back. This is a big picture.
You all
That's
have
all.
brought up that we want more people living in Jackson. That could help bring more people in. On my calculation, $20,000 increase, if you had 232, I don't know if you would need to adjust them all, but that's 4,640,000. And that is only just speaking about police.
Well, remember that 9 million that we're gonna get off of that one development that we pushed there, that we got to be more comfortable making uncomfortable decisions when it comes to revenue.
If I may, I have a family emergency I gotta go to. Any more questions for me?
Well,
if not, please feel free to email me, call me, whatever you need.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Chief Corbin, we just want you to have make sure
You're saying everything.
Yeah, I mean, and I know, we talked the other day about several of the capital stuff. The last couple of years, I think we were probably in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $750,000 in capital outside of vehicles. This year, we cut that down to like $100 and something thousand. I mean, just like Chief Fair was saying, we cut it. We've cut it to the point where, you know, this is what we need. It's not that we didn't need the other things. Those things were big time needs, but we've just said, we'll wait till next year and try again. But, you know, the firehouses absolutely need help. They absolutely need help. The police department, our building leaks all down the stairwells and everything. Every time it rains, it stinks, it's mildew. And I think I told you last week, we can't control the boiler. And so one office is freezing cold and the next one's hot. Because it's a 50-something-year-old building. It's operating off of technology from 1972. We all need those things, and that's things that we've been putting on these 5 and 10-year plans down the road. I started working on trying to get a new public safety complex in the police department in 2021. Started working on it, got a preliminary design, all those things. Those monies in the budget gets taken out. And it gets taken out, gets put on some other infrastructure, which is, I get that, the city needs that. But that just is another year where that plan has been halted and stagnant, and we can't move forward. And just like Chief Farrell says, if it's not us, who? We have to start this process. You guys have to start this process to get those monies and funds for this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Because it is going to be all of our kids that are trying to be police officers and firefighters and city employees, and we're going to leave them with crap. So that's kind of where we're at. Because it's about our people, but it's the people who's coming behind us that have to, we have to take care of those folks too.
I've got a 2-year guy on my truck. And in the medical field, anytime somebody gets bit by a spider or stung by a bee, we circle it, and that way we can see if it's swelling. We can see where it was swollen and if it grows. He made the comment the other day that he wanted to circle the mole on the wall to watch it grow. Now he's been here 2 years. That's sad.
Yeah.
We could laugh about it and say it's a funny joke, but that's sad. Where's that guy's mind going to be when he's a captain 15 years from now? What kind of an example is he going to be setting, and what kind of service is he providing for the public with that mindset? We're laying the foundation now for the future of this city. And the people, we have a lifespan. We will do, I know at least probably 10 people in this room that if somebody threw a grenade in here, we'd all jump on top of it to save every one of you. I promise you that. But we can't guarantee that the next group of people sitting in this room 20 years from now will be that same way. And these are the things that have to be addressed to ensure that we maintain that heart. The police department, the fire department, those are jobs of heart. You have to do that with your heart. I ended up in the ER. Me and my whole crew ended up in the ER trying to save somebody's life. And we had to balance between our own lives and his life.
I think you'll find that our heart is with you.
I understand. I'm just saying if we don't give these issues some serious weight in the near future, we're not complaining, we're warning.
Yeah. It's more than having our heart with it. We gotta have our vote.
Well, let me ask, because we keep, one of the things that I don't understand is the maintenance issues that both departments are having and other city properties. How does our in-house maintenance department cooperate with these issues?
They are amazing.
Okay.
They are absolutely amazing.
Okay, good. So, I mean, what I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around is how and why are these maintenance issues persisting? Are we coming back to underfunded?
Yes, it's some of underfunding, some of it is, again, it's a cancer that started 20 years ago that nobody did anything with, and now it's grown to the part where it's terminal.
So we're not just underfunded, we're chronically underfunded.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand that.
It's like if you have a vehicle and you're trying to figure out how to get back and forth to work, and you're saying, well, how much gas money do you need to get back and forth to work for the year? You're not taking into consideration the tires, the oil changes, you know, and at some point, we're just putting a spare tire on one tire to try to get to work that day, and that just snowballs.
Well, I would encourage everybody here for us to get a name and go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna have our own workshop or whatever it is, because we haven't made any headway today. So instead, we all know that there's an issue, everybody sees that there's an issue, and but we've got to actually do something, and we need to start doing something immediately and not kicking it down to next month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So that's where I feel like everybody should be able to come in. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about council and everybody's, well, I'm not saying that, but we need to go ahead and figure out our day when we're gonna start, when we're gonna like really get to it, because we've listened, we've heard, we know we've got a problem, we gotta do something.
And we still are not finished. I
Yeah, we
don't
do it.
wanna,
Everything
they've gotta
else is
leave,
showing.
and I think there's another critical issue that needs to be addressed. If we could at
Which
least
is?
give them 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, is that chief
What I'm gonna do is,
respectful to you. I'm going to, just pass this along to you guys, and you can, it's just tell about the fly rail system. Our fly rail system, how important it is, how dangerous it is, what it is. It's a rigged system, of course, and we use it 24/7, 365 days of the year.
So this was in council, we were asked how, or not in council, in budget, and there was a question that was asked, how often was it used, at what capacity?
It's being used right now as we speak, because, there's no one in the building. Because our curtains are hung from, this fly rail system, and we talking about those drapes weigh a lot. So we use that fly rail system to hang lights, to hang scenery, to hang people. I mean, anything on that stage has to be hung. It has to be hung from the fly rail system. So
Why are these costs so different in some of them? Like, I know like some there's a link because there's 10 concerts, but on some of them, even it seems like a one-time thing, it's 3,000 and 4,000, and then there's one that's 350. Is that just a mistake?
what you talking about?
The cost of the.
Yeah.
Those right
Should that
there.
be 3,500 too?
No, those are just the events and what they're paid to use that fly rail system. Those are a list of our events. Yes.
okay, so let's answer the question. Julie had the question, how often is this, answer that question
It's
first.
used 95% of the time.
100% pretty much.
Okay.
It's
Pretty
even
much.
when it's not there yet.
If the stage is used, the fly rail is used. The only time the fly rail is not used is if it's, the event is in another part of the building. Area has this right here. 45 of our, 45, this right here is what we're dealing with, still.
It's 40 pounds. It takes 28 of them to hold the main curtain. So that's how heavy that curtain is. It's about 1,100 pounds. And that's overhead all the time.
And if that was to crash and someone's on that stage,
Julie, to
And-
answer the question, I think she said.
I heard her
there's-
answer. She said
And
they use it all the
our,
time, but I'm asking him.
Why we had, first of all, they went out and got a bid
What
or
was I
something. I'm trying to read your mind, that help you, ask me to her, so we go.
My question is this: how come is most of everything $1,000+ and then there's one that is $350? What's the difference? Is that a typo?
no, that's just like.
Or is
for
this
the-
like curtains only? Is
No,
this-
that's the rental. That's like,
Say rent.
yes, that's how much we rent. All that comes in there. They might not use chairs or tables. They might bring their own tables or chairs in.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah, that's just the cost of
That's what I
the
was
rental.
Of the, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, would we lose this if we don't fix, does OSHA come in and say?
OSHA will shut it down because our flower, our drapes, they have not passed the flame test. The flame test.
Thank you for y'all's time. I appreciate you. So right now, we're about a $600,000 deficit in bank revenue versus expenses. Is that correct?
Let's let her finish. I mean, they've been here patiently. We want to respect everybody. I'd like for us to come together who can and give respect to you all.
So, like I said, 45, we use that fly rail system maybe 45 times out of a year, and that's just our regular customers. We're not speaking on the customers who come in on a one-time basis. We have 35, regular event holders that uses that. And, the annual shows, and, we still have original parts to that fly rail system. And if you look at that first page is the, system that's above the stage. That's how huge it is. You see how huge it is? It's massive. It's very massive. And it's old, and it's not safe.
Would you say this is critical?
Very, because I'm gonna let Ariel speak on how critical it is, because he has to work with it. He works with it.
Here's the thing, the equipment that's in the system, is so old at this point. The company that made it is out of company. It's bankrupt. It's gone. And all of the wire rope that's holding that up, it's about 700,000 feet of wire rope. It's 25 years past its due date. It was supposed to be inspected 25 years ago. It's all in kind of shape that OSHA could walk in, shut it down. ANSI could walk in and shut it down. Pretty much anybody who was responsible and walked in and saw that condition and understood how bad it is, could shut us down.
Did we lose all that revenue?
The fire marshal can shut it down, all that.
So question.
No longer
Someone had an
on.
enforcement later, y'all have your inspection or?
There is no inspection. And OSHA hasn't shut down, and so OSHA doesn't know.
Well, they're going to.
Well, it's on
Facebook.
What's the cost?
It's critical.
2.7.
2.7 million.
It's in the budget.
No.
That's why we're talking about it.
Yes, 2.7.
Can I ask another question? Is this revenue we will lose?
Yes, that's just some of the revenue you'll lose.
Okay, that's not including.
That's not including
hotels.
the hotels, the restaurants, the shopping from all four of the pageants. I mean,
I don't think anybody can debate that we need it. By any means. I think the one thing that we have yet to do here is say, how are we going to fund it and figure out the way to bring it more in. No, I'm beating a dead horse now.
No, I just want us to start adding it up. That's what I'd like to do. That's $3 million right there. I just said that was $4.7 million.
We deduct the fees. We're losing $600,000 a year, not counting hotel motel, which is a sizable number.
Get that later, I'm sorry.
But I'm just gonna say, one of the things we need to do is increase the fees for the citizens.
We hadn't even talked about city court, how much we're losing there.
Well,
Like Ariel has to leave. Can you, how much is
the rental at the Civic Center?
right now it's 16 for $1,600 and $1,200 for nonprofits, but that will increase come July 1st.
And where are we increasing to?
2,000.
Which tracks with about everywhere else.
Okay.
Would you finish?
And also, I'm sorry. Also, the equipment, everything is increasing. Everything. The building rental, the equipment.
So, but the majority of your work is with nonprofits?
Yes.
Start July 1?
Yes. 2026.
Errol, you have to leave, we appreciate, but is there anything else that you think we need to know?
I just want to reiterate that it's very dangerous, and that we all use that building. It's dangerous to me almost every day. It's dangerous to you guys every time you come to a prayer breakfast, or JA's, annual meeting, or one of the main charity events. Everybody on stage is at risk.
For entry? Okay. That's what the next slide.
There's 52 100-foot lead or steel pipes above your head. One of them goes, everybody underneath goes, and nobody can guarantee when it's gonna fail.
Okay, now that we know if there's an injury, we are now liable.
And I'm not. It's language.
No, I'm just saying.
100%.
Well, what I do require, each event holder has to have $1 million insurance policy, along with the production crew who's working, at events.
How much?
$1 million.
Yeah, but they were still super.
I know, yeah.
And not the thing of putting that on an individual, like the firemen, what they deal with every day. it's not right to put our employees thinking about, is today gonna be the time? How am I gonna live with that? Just like firefighters.
And it's just not the community. I mean, I'm concerned about the crew, the workers. Anytime you walk across that stage, myself, I ain't going. I mean, it's safe. But you know, I'm just concerned about the community, the crew, the staff.
Not to mention that would we not look, we gotta look better than this. We gotta do better than this, because if we shut the Civic Center down.
Yes, because we do provide a quality of life through the entertainment. I mean, through our shelters. You know, the nonprofits they provide help for our vulnerable community, the vulnerable population. So yes.
So if they're making money, there might be another avenue to.
We can't just, say though, we've gotta do better. I mean, I give you the proposal, and I don't even know that, I thought that was a very conservative proposal. I thought it was last year, I think it is again this year. But, again, that's only gonna be a small piece of the puzzle, there. I don't even know that that's.
So you've heard a lot of things here. And just from what I've seen since I've been here, you guys have $3 to $4 million a year of, right now, just regular capital. That's buying stuff for police, buying stuff for fire, buying stuff for this, and buying stuff for that. Just regular capital. Renewable items, things you're buying every couple of 5 or 7 years, police cars and turnout gear for the fire department, things like that. And then you've got items like a $3 million fly rail that have to be replaced every now and again. And you've got, at least once every 50 years.
50
Right?
years, yes. The life expectancy is 50 years.
I'm not being flip. I'm just saying then you've got buildings like fire stations that you've got to build once every 20 years. Now, as best I can tell, and Councilman Donnell or Councilman Dodd, y'all, who's been around here the longest? Is it?
He.
So the way the city appears to have funded these items over the years has been to issue debt every 3 to 4 years, and it was debt every 2 years. Okay, every 7 million, 3 million, 11 million, they would fund debt and then they would pay it back. Part of that was because there is and has been a structural problem with a structural revenue problem in the city. Now, part of that is being addressed, Greg. We're working on fees. We're working, some of that, but still, you can come up with, you can make some difficult choices here today or whenever it is that you make it and come up with $746,000 to do your step raises. You can look at programs that perhaps don't, what was the phrase, that help 99% of the people. You can, and then look at the ones, you can do those things and you may be able to come up with $746,000. But this is the same conversation we had the other day. Long term, you have a structural hole in your budget that is going to have to be addressed in some way or another. And I would encourage you not to lose sight of that and not to lose sight, not to look for the low-hanging fruit, but to say, how do we fix this long term? Now, you don't have a lot of time right here. One of the things you guys talked about is doing one thing now and then continuing to work on it later. That may be the best, so you don't want to do that.
No, I don't want us to pass it. I don't want us to pass a budget and then say, well, in August, if we have to raise taxes, we'll raise taxes. We gotta pass this budget and we gotta do it and we gotta do it.
Can we at least say we're all in agreement with the step raises?
We've already said that.
But we are in a deficit of 700,000?
746, that's what it'll take to do that.
That's where I think we need to look at where we can make some reasonable cuts, and then figure out like how we're going to fire rail together. If that's raising taxes.
Here, I completely agree.
You understand what
it's essentially what I challenged us to do last budget cycle was, let's see where we can drive revenues and decrease spending. we're back to square one.
I've been asking for permits
But
for
the thing, it's a
4 years.
two-part mission. We've got this budget, and then I agree, we've got to figure out some things for the future, because it's exhausting 3 budget cycles in a row to have these same redundant conversations.
And we've asked about city court, we asked to have, 3 years ago, Richard, I never saw an answer to your question. The comptroller came, we asked them to go through city court, we're talking real.
It was in
That's-
TAS, and I talked with Teresa last week, and he still hasn't sent the report, so we can by ordinance, we can change the fees, and I'm working with Teresa and Lewis right now on that.
So could you give us a ballpark of what we're losing right there?
About $1 million a year.
Okay?
Hold on.
That's big time.
What can we increase the fees to? Because I know there's gotta be some.
Court
certain,
costs.
like- I know, but like, is there a certain amount that you can go up to? Because I know like there's.
Well, right now,
things where we can only increase it to $50 fine or.
Right now, ours is $25 for moving violations.
And $20 for.
Ordinance violations.
Ordinance, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no limit.
I ain't never paid no ticket for $25, and I've had a
court
lot of.
cost.
And my
tickets.
Ross's jail bill is more than
So our
10 years
so
ago.
our good friends in Gibson, Tennessee, their court cost for a while was $110.
That sounds
What's
normal.
district court here?
Sir,
District court.
General Sessions is 117 for
Yeah, 120, something like that.
moving violations.
I
But-
paid 193 in Haywood County General Sessions.
Yeah, and so.
Y'all are losing a lot of money.
You know, now, part of that's collection, I mean, part of it's, we're not collecting the fees we were assessing.
Y'all get us plenty of me for on tickets, and I'm willing to.
Fund the whole
thing. I'm willing to do fundraisers to fund, but I don't, my insurance bill is
Fees or
where.
revenue reports, for that specific department. I mean, you'll have to go back to, Nathan could cook that up.
I was just
for you,
gonna
I'm
add,
sure.
I was trying to ask, like, what is the amount that city court has brought in the last 3 years?
About $600,000.
Girl, bye.
That's where we're not going.
Well, and that,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
making that
massive-
point
We
because.
Can we file a police
There's a
report?
lot,
Because
there's
they're
a
getting
lot
robbed.
that have, I think, been waived, not paid, and.
Don't know anything about that.
I don't
Um,
even.
But you do
I'm
know
just
the
making
numbers.
I do know the
speculative.
numbers.
That's all we need to address, is we do know the numbers. One like, Mr. Mayor is looking at an avenue to raise them, but the public needs to understand we're losing $1 million a year. One blank, it's sad.
Well, I just want to point out one thing as we talk about this, that the purpose of city court is not to raise money. The purpose of it is to distribute justice to people. And so I don't want
Distributing
to
justice costs.
I don't want us to see it as just for money making the money making enterprise.
It should be
That's
solid.
exactly
See that.
It should be
Just
solid.
one, break even.
Yeah, it should at
Break
least
even.
break even.
Yeah.
Just break even and do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, but see, I won't say anything else after this, but some of the people in city court that are fined, don't have jobs, don't have this, don't have that, they can't pay them.
So in the ordinance that we're working on structuring, Councilman, is the judge's ability to waive based on what their financial situation is. If they show proof of their financial situation, he can waive those costs.
That makes
That's,
sense.
that's,
Yeah,
that's.
that's why it's losing money. Because he has to waive the cost because they can't pay.
Well, I think
But right
you're saying
now,
is the
we
one
don't
thing
have
that
that.
we're not
right,
charging
so
enough even
people
for
are
the
just
people that
waiving
can't.
costs to
Okay,
waive
well, I can go with that.
Yeah.
But when you also say they're not collecting it, do you mean even as something that goes into collections they're not collecting? Are we using the collections avenue
No,
for people who
they're
have the
not
money?
They're not using the collections agency we contract.
Okay. And how much are we paying a collection agency?
It's based on what they collect.
They get like a percentage of the debt, correct?
I mean,
If they get
let's lay it out.
it. So they're not pushing it over to the collections agency to then step over and get into their job, basically, is what you're saying. So then we're just losing the money.
There's no skin, we fund it, they don't lose anything, but not following through.
No,
There's
the two department heads are independently elected, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
So-
Who has to stay on their pay?
Elections matter.
Checks and balances, separation of powers.
It does,
So-
voting.
Do we have to have city court?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
100%. We have to have a city court.
Yeah. You forgot about charters.
Well, we can change the charter.
Okay. So if we change the charter, then
We go to a general session.
So yeah, city court goes away, then what is, I know city court served JPD another tremendous order.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's
who would serve it then? If
It
there
had
was
to go to
no-
general session. The charter was changed, there was no municipal court, it would go to general sessions.
And we would lose environmental court as well. if we go
Okay,
to
so
general
when
session.
we talk about stuff, we
we've never
always
been that
compare
way.
to other municipalities that are of our size. Is there any of them that we've been compared to that we like to use at that point that do not have a city court?
I could see city court still existing, however, maybe not on the criminal stuff, you can still do your e-court, maybe make it more like a scaled back.
Yeah, I think we talked about that to a scale, is just doing the e-court piece and one other piece, I can't remember what we talked about, but not doing the full general sessions.
Traffic.
Traffic and e-court.
So I mean,
How,
I got pulled over in Mississippi, and if you just paid the fee,
How many people work there?
yeah,
it was
how
done.
many
You
is
could go
it
to court.
how many are necessary?
That was part of the study that MTS did that they never
It would never,
got back to.
Yeah,
that was,
so,
that was 3 years
I mean,
ago.
I think, how many are, employed?
So there's a city prosecutor and there's a city, I'm stalling, just briefly while I pull this up. There's a city prosecutor and a city public defender, that the city pays for. And then, in addition to that, there are,
Six clerks.
let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's some part-time folks in here too.
They do their building.
Why?
6,
Is that necessary? Like,
7,
So I think one of the issues that we have is we don't know.
8.
And I think we're not gonna know for sure until we get a new city court clerk, and that'll be September.
Before we get to that, after we have to pass the budget.
Yeah, because, but, it's still where, it's the timeframe we have, because I don't think that, every year when there's a budget time, the only response we get is we need more people, that's all we get, so there's not really anyone looking at what the need is over there.
how much can a,
7 clerks, 6 clerks?
Yeah, there's
I mean, that to me sounds excessive.
14. Of those 14, 2 are part-time building attendants. 1 is a prosecutor, 1 is a defender.
And the other.
Then there's a judge and a clerk that are elected. So I didn't total that up. There's 14, 2 part-time, judge and a clerk, public defender, so that's
Prosecutor.
6.
And prosecutor.
Yeah, I got both of those, so that's, 8.
So there's 8 clerks.
I mean, I'm sure.
Those are 8 you gotta have.
I'm sure they do
8
different
people.
things.
Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick back to LaShawn? LaShawn, if we realize it's $3 million, is there a way that you could get with Mr. Mayor and say, can I just check this, or is there a certain company? And then find out if we can pay that over a 3-year period? Just kind of gather some information without spending any money. I mean, is that?
I would check with Ty, because the mayor and I already had a meeting
Mhm.
with Ty, so we can, if it's okay with the mayor, I can schedule another meeting with Ty.
Yeah, but there's any, we were talking about, Councilmember, we have to bring Nathan into that fold to see how that's, if it's a lease to own, what that gives a capital lease, is it, what that looks like, so.
Just somehow that we could spread it over. It's just a thought process, and if you all could think through that.
And do you know the timeline it would take to replace that?
It wouldn't, it'll be like a year. A year.
Will they check everything
Before they
down?
can start.
Yeah.
No, not,
It's not gonna be like Ross's.
no, it all depends on how quick we need it. The quicker we need it, honestly, the more it's gonna cost. If you need 4 weeks, 8 weeks, it all depends on how quick.
But do we have to shut everything down?
Just the auditorium,
Could we do it in stages?
She researched.
Yeah, I have to ask Ty, he probably can,
So that way you're not losing revenue, you could do it in between things.
but honestly, I mean.
I think that, I asked him if he would do it, where he said, no, it has to, because it all goes, all of the auditorium, so it all has to come down. And so it's, even if you take part of it down, it's dangerous, leave part of it up, part of it down.
Well, we realize we're in a critical state, and so let's just agree on that and let you all figure out how we can pay for it and how we'd have to do it, please.
Before I move to adjourn,
I want to ask, Mr. Rowland.
To pray.
Your inspectors, do they go around in that areas each day to see if stuff is all right or too much trash out there and stuff like that?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, now, the other day, I forgot which day it was, I sent you those pictures of, trash piles that I seen in my district. I think it was about 7 or 8 of them, something like that. My question is, why didn't the inspectors see that instead of me having to see it and send it to you?
They did see it, and they're working on it. Like, I think you sent something about the funeral home, that was in court today. It was ordered down today, so we are working on it. Those things that you, like we get emails, we get complaints, we get 311s. Sometimes we're already working on it.
All right. Okay, well, that helps them out then.
You use the 311 app.
Yeah.
Council,
I use everything. 311, the other one, call him, call the inspector, I do them all.
That's what I do.
Before we leave, can we get a plan, please?
what are our next steps that we agree on?
All right, cuts.
Well, what we, I would encourage everyone to get into this budget. And Nathan, this is
The most recent.
our third take at this. This is,
That's the most recent version, yes.
and how dependable is this as we look at it moving forward?
Until you guys make a change or we identify something else, somebody volunteers something, then that's where we are. That's the document we're working off of.
What is the budget?
I'm just gonna make this statement real quick. We keep on hiding cuts. We ain't gonna have
Now, the budget committee, the previous budget recommended was no step raises. That was communicated to the budget committee. There were no step raises, and then we were gonna have a overall about $500,000 surplus at the end of the year.
Right, so, are we?
Wait a second, I need to. The budget committee said to not have
The
separate.
budget committee made a recommendation. They were informed that there were no step
Aren't you
raises.
chairman of the budget committee?
Yes.
Did you make that recommendation?
No.
Well, that's the budget committee said that recommendation did not come through.
The recommendation, you can go back and look at the video, 42 minutes into the meeting, they were informed about it.
Paul Taylor made
So-
the motion to recommend that. Did he not? He made the,
So is this budget being approved by
The
the
budget
budget
committee
committee?
has been recommended, so
Been recommended.
they're only advisory only.
I'm with you. And there've been some changes subsequent that actually made the budget better since they saw it.
So you said the budget committee recommended it?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Not some person on the budget committee recommended it. The budget committee recommended it.
I think I called that tail end, I just didn't hear a
You don't
motion,
remember-
I
you don't
thought
remember
somebody
that?
brought it up.
You said it didn't happen?
No, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I was there, but I don't think that we would have not voted for a pay raise.
Then go pull the video.
Yeah.
So back to the budget committee recommended the budget with the step
No,
raise.
without the step raise.
Without the step raise.
Correct.
Well, I would challenge everyone, next time we meet, show up with your revenue ideas, show up with your expense ideas, anything you want to take out, add in, whatever the case may be, but every single one of us needs to show up with something.
I did that
What
today.
And thank you guys, I mean, I've got a stack as well.
Yeah, we don't, but does the budget committee need to be on the front end of that?
No, they make a
They made their
recommendation.
recommendation.
Them after we.
If it's ready, then they will.
They make a recommendation, ultimately we make a tough decision.
Yeah, it's their job essentially is.
Didn't I give you a copy?
Because I think if we'll all put our heads together, we'll come up with some mutually agreed upon items for revenue, expense, et cetera, and that might give us some agreement.
I want to say one thing here. The budget, as we're looking at it now, has got tremendous problems. But it is the best budget I've seen at this time of year. For 3 years, we have made some progress, believe it or not.
You just say it's best because of the numbers, but have you looked at like the situation of everything
We're
going on?
addressing
Far
those
from
now.
best.
We're addressing those now. We actually have a.
Tell us the timeline.
You're talking about all of it. I think that we've made some progress on it.
When can we
There's
meet?
no police car in it, there's
I didn't
no
say it was
stuff
perfect.
with the fire in it. I mean,
Well, but we're looking now at couple $1 million in the last.
really more than that. I mean.
When can we meet next week? Can we go ahead and set a time to meet next week? No, I'm serious.
I can.
let's, everybody pull your calendars. Okay, y'all put out dates. You want next Monday? When do y'all want?
Tuesday and Thursdays, I have all day babysitters, kids will be out of school.
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have to work around babysitters.
Mondays no more.
So
There's not anybody else to leave
Tuesdays,
in.
so look at Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is this okay, Scott?
So you got, yeah, I say Mondays
If
and
we
Mondays
do-
all the same.
Okay,
If we
so
do Tuesday, do we have enough notice time?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, why don't we just knock it out?
Tuesday,
Go in
26.
first.
Okay,
Right,
1
right.
o'clock, 3 o'clock? Let's say a little bit earlier.
9, let's go at 9 o'clock. Let's go.
9 o'clock.
The general
Send
fund
send
tax
an email.
rate,
Wait,
And there's the total increase right there.
You're
I can
giving?
do 3 o'clock
Yes.
on
You
This
can't
is
get
total
plans
revenues
Let's should
generated.
tentatively set it for the 26th at 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
When Marquisha will send that out, people respond if you can come or not come, and then we'll go from there.
Everybody's here to set.
I think we should. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, everybody's here, so let's just.
Tuesday's a tough day for me, but I can.
I mean,
I need time to play.
It's Monday, right?
Well, that's what I'm they're in school.
Larry's
They're
providing lunch.
Tuesday
Tuesday and Thursday, I've got
They're in
babysitters
school.
all day here in out season.
Okay, is it okay to move forward with just saying 3 o'clock Tuesday the 26th?
20, yeah.
Do you think we need to do it at 2 o'clock though? Because we started at 3 o'clock today and we're rolling on 25 minutes ago.
I didn't set an end
I'm
time.
gonna be like,
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. My babysitters are staying, I've already called.
I'm gonna be
supposed to
like
be in
this night
Nashville
with
at
those
3.
closed meetings. 2 o'clock or 3?
Now.
Okay, 2 o'clock it is?
Johnny said 9.
I'm down for 9.
What day of the week?
I'm down for 9
Well,
a.m.
yeah, but she's trying to.
I can't be there tonight.
I have to work.
Okay, Marquisha, would you
Sorry.
mind?
I mean,
to
Well, we
sit
have
down
kids
with
to go
council
home to raise too, I'm
including,
sorry, so we're gonna have to figure it out.
Mr. Mayor, and send out an invite, let's see if we can get that accomplished.
What day
If everyone agrees on 2 o'clock, then it'll be a public notice, so we'll just do that.
Okay, the 26th at 2 o'clock.
How about the,
You're gonna tentatively,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can just, whenever you get it.
Probably
are
they
you
would get
gonna?
it.
We'll still be here.
Try to be here.
Yeah.
Please,
Okay.
please show up
Becky,
prepared, everybody.
Yeah, I'll
Please
be
show
here.
up prepared.
Julie, rest of y'all.
I'm happy as a Lord, let's roll.
yeah, I'll be here, but I have to leave and make a quarterly report.
And then you have your list of questions, as Russ suggested, everybody have their list of questions. We've already decided we're putting it all out there, so.
And as
bring your list of
I ask
questions.
again, like I asked for, if you have a department head you wanna talk to, let me know. I'm not gonna fill this room with people just to sit there.
Can we
and
talk
watch.
to city court?
I can ask them.
Ooh,
I would.
Yeah.
I got
I
questions.
can't make them, I can ask them.
No, but how, you might be, listen, how terrible is that gonna look? We wanna know why there's no money coming in and you refuse to come up there.
I don't think it matters.
He's not the elected
I
official.
know, he's about to be done, still, where's that?
I'd like
Where's the
for
money?
Stan Pilot or Eldridge just to answer a few questions so we can think about this new revenue coming in.
2 o'clock, yes, sir. And you guys have got questions, you guys have got questions, there's some work I can do, let me know, just sooner rather than later, because we're also doing several other
The
things.
hotel tax is something we really, but we don't know when.
We can't, even if we could, we still can do anything to make sure.
Yeah.
And then maybe also, the city court, how we can maybe, that fee, just the fee.
Yeah, we can adjust that, that's what we're looking at, we're trying to, work on crafting it, so it's everything.
How to figure out what portion of that revenue is made up of that fee, that's hard to find out, but we can do it.
Put this extra 30 minutes on overtime.
Do y'all need the next meeting? I'll be here.
They probably will wanna ask you about the fine, the fees going up.
Just do your, like, if there's something specific, it's not hard to send an email or call any of these folks who are in the room today. If you do your homework, please show up prepared, ask your questions ahead of time.
In closing, before we leave, I want to tell everybody, thank you for your respect. Thank you for treating each other with respect. I think we're learning to grow, and I appreciate that. And if we act this way, we can accomplish what we need to accomplish. So I thank you all for showing a good attitude.
Is what we need to accomplish.
Richard?
Yes, move with John.
We need